I know I've made the joke every time, but that's the best part of the show. Every time.
Well, it is.
And honestly,
show's over.
I'm insulted that AI that took me 2 minutes to slap together is better than everything else.
I'm going to tell you, the song that Jared put together for me, I get so many compliments off that damn song. And especially since I set it to video. I don't know if you've ever seen the full video, Jared or Matt.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I had so much fun making that. It was so fun, so goofy. And it was the talk of like the doctor's office. They saw one of my Star Wars commercials not too long ago. They saw this one. I mean, they're just, so I again, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out very well. Very catchy too. I'm going on tour next week.
Yes.
Yeah. Playing at a theater never near you.
That's what I like to see. That's what I like to hear.
I'll be standing on a dumpster outside of a Walmart singing that song. Yep.
Nice. And I know the Walmart in your area. So
yeah, only stage I'm allowed on. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I got a very thoughtful gift from a customer a few days ago. And it is this little baby right here.
Ooh.
Yep.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah,
very nice.
His brother was in Japan, or still is, I should say, and sent him, I think it was the Spider-Man 2099, a Scarlet Spider, and the Venom. Well, it turns out this guy, his name's Andrew, he had a Venom already, and he decided to gift me the extra one, which, I told him, I said, you don't have to do that. But he's like, Mr. Quinn, I really like the way you take care of me. He goes, I want to give this to you. I'm like, okay, who am I to refuse? So I appreciate that. And I don't have one of those, so it kind of worked out. So I'm very, very grateful to my very thoughtful customers that, when they think of me, I appreciate stuff like that, even though they don't have to.
Just come on, be a little professional.
Hey, it's the guest, and we're booting the
guest. For the love of all that's holy.
I'm trying. No,
I like this already.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Sorry. Usually that only happens when we have.
Usually
that only happens when we have McFarlane figures.
Oh, I think I found the right one now. No, it's not. I don't know. I used to have a button for it.
That's not it either. There you go.
But we lost everybody else.
Oh, mother. They're there.
Okay. Sorry, Aaron. We're really much more professional.
No, dude, don't worry.
No, we're not. Do not let him lie to you.
Air quotes.
If I came on and you guys had it all together, I'd be like, I don't think I belong here.
No, this is.
Well, then you're in the right place.
Way too slick for me. I'm used to, I barely know what I'm doing at any given moment.
Yeah, we were just having the conversation. The best part of the show is just the intro music, and that's it. And everything just kind of goes downhill from there at that point. It's great. You get all pumped up and like really into it and worked up, and you're just like, yes. And then the intro music goes away, and you see us, and she's like, oh, well. That was fun while it lasted.
It was going to be really great, and then...
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no, thank you for the invite. I'm trying to like tweet it out, but it's like the link is being. Why is it?
I don't know why. Like Facebook deletes. I just got a notification that Facebook's deleted.
No, we've already established this. YouTube doesn't like us, because variety of reasons, mostly because we showed a Megatron on a show one time, and everything just kind of went downhill from there.
Literally a toy gun and it killed the stream.
It killed my channel for a week, dude. It I couldn't live stream for a week because you showed Megatron on a chat. Of course, in YouTube's defense, it knows my other channel, and so it probably thought that it was a real firearm. But
Oh, that's why, because you had him in firearm mode.
Yeah, he was in firearm mode, and I'm not gonna lie, my other channel has been dinged for content that it deems, what's a nice word for it? Fucked up. Yeah, fucked up. We'll just go with that.
So, I mean, that's 2 words, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. It worked.
YouTube don't like anything that has to do with freedom seeds.
No, it does not. It does not like those things, and it doesn't like a lot of opinions as well.
No.
Which is one reason why I'm glad to have you here, by the way.
I mean, because of my opinions?
I mean, yeah.
I got a lot of those.
See, we appreciate that. I know a lot of YouTube doesn't. Well, YouTube anyway.
Well,
people on YouTube appreciate it, but
they seem to. I mean, you know what's weird is I don't get a lot of pushback. Like, I get very little pushback, and I don't know why that is, because it seems like everybody else who says things that I say get attacked relentlessly. And I had one friend. I was like, I just don't get that. And he goes, well, that's because the couple of people that have stepped up, like, you've destroyed them. Like, and I was like, oh, I never even thought about that.
It's social media, YouTube, all this. It's a weird place the last few years, I guess. Is it really? I guess it's always been a weird place, but no, it started out and everybody was like, "Oh, what's this? Here's videos of a kitten."
That was like,
I remember.
We went to the first, and we were all like bright-eyed and like, "Oh, what is this magical thing? We can share happy things."
Yeah, then, that was the beginning of it. It was kitties and kicked in the nuts videos that everybody would laugh at, and it was
and then
fun.
The Fire Nation attacked.
And everybody enjoyed, spending half a day with their custom soundtrack on their MySpace page, and it was good times back in the early days, and then things happened.
We have to go back.
It would be nice sometimes. I miss it. I started on YouTube in 2010. And it was a very, very different time back then.
Are we recording or going live?
We are live.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then I don't have to change my tweet.
Yeah, you can, and you can say and or do anything you want here, because nobody cares. We don't care. So please feel free. I don't know.
I'm not particularly. It's like I don't curse very much. I don't. So and I'm not going to come out and like all of a sudden, it's like, here's a bunch of anti-Semitism. You don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah, we don't need that part.
Start waving a Megatron. I'm like double fisting Megatrons, on the screen.
Whoa!
That's all it takes nowadays.
Well, actually, no. If I was double fisting the way that you indicated, then we'd be fine.
Oh well, because they like that. That's fine.
Yeah, we could just put a pride flag up behind me, and it'd be good.
Yeah, if you can do it on OnlyFans, it's fine. There's not a problem with that. God forbid you transform Megatron on a live stream, or, I don't know, say that, hey, you know what, this comic book or this movie sucks, and I didn't like it because it's really shittily, written, and they go, no, can't say that because I don't know.
You must not speak against our corporate masters.
No.
Or our corporate contributors, I should say.
No, it's not a terrible story. You're just a bigot.
Yes. You just don't understand because you're a straight white male, and therefore everything you do and or say must be racist, sexist, or homophobic.
Yes. Well, I mean, I've tried.
You need to do a Doomface in blue jean outfit.
We actually already in issue 2 we have our own version of American Outfitters, which is since it's superhero themed, it's American Aphrodite. So she's the spokesmodel for that company. Because originally, and that just sprang out of Renzo was just drawing backgrounds because we had something that was like in the in kind of like the retail district. And so Renzo was drawing backgrounds, and he drew Sydney Sweeney in the American Eagle ad. And I was like, Renzo, we're still at the end of 2024 in this book. Like, that hasn't happened yet. Like, and he was like, oh, what should I do? And I was like, let's just make it superhero. We'll call her like American Aphrodite, and then we'll make her an actual character. And there's a couple of characters in the book that were just either throwaway gags or just things that that kind of like came in through problem solving that have now become their own characters. So it's a lot of fun working with Renzo.
The artwork is just beautiful. And
He's so damn good. We're also working on a secret book for a client that like he's just started turning in pages for, and it looks spectacular.
Nice. The what's some background? What is your background in like the comic industry?
What is that? Just getting some feedback. So the we're already live. I thought we were still back in the green room. I was like,
oh no,
no, that would imply that we were professional. That is not the case.
So we still got background, and I'm just up on the big screen for everybody. Like, just
yes.
Dear God. Oh man, I didn't sign up. You didn't tell me
I
what I was walking into.
editing like the layout and everything while we're live. So. We're so professional.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, and you're here today. We can launch our new branding. We're going to be Collector Fusion.
Oh, very cool. See, that looks very very dull and lifeless and brutalist and not charming at all.
You need some of those big glasses to like talk about the brand.
Oh,
now,
every time you see those glasses, right, you're just like, oh, this person, it's like those glasses or a septum piercing or the combination of the two, and you're like, oh, okay, this person is insane.
Now, since we've launched the new logo, we have lost $250 million in stock value, but that's okay because politics. We're trying to make a statement here.
So, you guys want to hear a little bit about my background in the comic book industry. I mean, I feel like everybody's heard that. Like, what? Tell me your background. Like, what's going on here? Like, you guys all got like stuff behind you that I want to check out. Like, what's going on?
I'll let Matt go first.
Oh, my background? What the fuck does anybody care? No, shit.
They're just like friends that like, got together and we're like, we all like toys and let's talk about toys and collecting. And is that what happened, or what's your origin story?
Well, I mean, so I've been on YouTube since 2010. I started a guns and politics channel back then, way back in the day, which I still do, sort of. I'm not as into it as much as I used to. A couple years ago, I met up with Jared because my other obsession, outside of pew pews, is action figures. Because I'm an '80s kid, and I don't know. At some point, I never really stopped collecting, but I never had a lot. Most of my adult life, from about the age of 17 up until about 10, 12 years ago, I just always had like a shelf or something in my house of some collectibles, some things. I'd always have a handful of comic books. I had been real big into comics, grew up on Superman and X-Men and all these things. And anyway, I kind of got back into it. I saw Jared randomly on a stream one day and we started talking, and I ended up creating this second channel that's just about geek stuff. And now we do a show that we're 101 episodes into, because we're incredibly huge nerds. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, and then I'm big into like customizing action figures. That's what I do a lot on my channel. And I have a buddy of mine who's a local comic book shop. He does unboxings for his shop each week. So I'm constantly putting out content, but nobody watches. But I've been doing this for what? I guess 5-6 years now. Yeah,
you've been doing it several years longer than I have, because I've only been doing this a couple years. And I don't think I think when we first started talking, I did not have my own. I didn't have this channel. So
I think you might recognize one of my customs.
No.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. I didn't know that was you. That was one of my favorites of all time. Yep. I have it saved on my phone because it's like one day I want to duplicate this.
That was a fun project. Now I wish they had that blue from the Venom 3-pack figure, but when I started this one, because it would have helped with the joint prep work. But this thing was just a fun project. I love how it turned out.
Yeah, the Riot figure, is it Riot? I think his name is from the 3-pack. Was it?
The Riot, yeah, Riot is the one from the 3-pack.
Yeah, I have an extra one of those that I picked up just to make this custom. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But this is why this is on my phone, is because I was like, this is the example of that I wanted to use.
Well, I use the pictures of the prototype toy that never got released, plus pictures of the character itself as well. I was like, I'm going to do all this goo dripping down the figure and.
What did you end up using for all the dripping and all?
Don't ask me that. You don't want to know.
I use a combination of green stuff and Dave's Fix-It Sculpt.
So do you find that? Do you find that the green stuff does it hold up well, like in comparison to the Aves, or what's? Because I've never used green stuff. I've always used the Aves epoxy.
The green stuff holds up pretty well, but one thing I will suggest when you get into if you do any kind of green stuff, they make a sculpting Vaseline for green stuff does. Stuff is almost unusable without it. It is so tacky. You need that to actually go release it sticks to your tools, it sticks to everything. Without that stuff, you can basically not work with it.
Don't they also? Isn't there also a powder that you can use?
You can use like a talc or something like that. That's the wrong one.
Yeah, because I've seen people they sprinkle it with powder while they're molding it to, I guess, to work with it so that it doesn't stick to anything.
And I got another prime in progress.
See, love all the Ultraverse stuff. That's the character Sludge is how Aaron Lopresti and I became friends.
That's for the first time that I saw you were on his stream, and I watched his art stream and stuff. Like you were talking to him, and I used to talk about Big Head Studios, and I ordered Lord Pumpkinhead, and I made a Lord Pumpkin, and I make all kinds of Ultraverse characters customs.
I got Lord Pumpkin sitting right here. That's just the head sculpt.
You should know he is. This is just my opinion, and I don't say this because he's my friend, because I thought this before we even knew each other when I just knew his videos. The best customizer on YouTube.
No, I have I'm looking at his portfolio here, and I have a ton of his stuff saved. It's funny because it's I lose track of who makes what. I just it's I'm scrolling my phone as I'm in line or something like that, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. Save that, and I end up with all these pictures, and I don't remember how to go back to. I need to start screenshotting it so that I have the customizer's name too. But so many of these are in my library of stuff that I want to make this. That you've inspired. So and I love that you're doing the Ultraverse stuff, because obviously I'm a huge Ultraverse fan, and I was back in the day.
That's me. I loved Ultraverse, everything about the Ultraverse. For the longest time, I was sad that Marvel would not do anything with the Ultraverse. But now I don't want modern Marvel to touch Ultraverse.
No. The good news is they never will, because there's royalty agreements baked into the use of those characters that Disney will never want to pay, and that Marvel will never want to pay out. So they'll just keep those characters imprisoned forever, I guess. I don't know why they just don't release. If they're not going to do anything with them, just release them back to the creators.
100% with you right there. I've been saying that for a long time. If they're not going to do anything with them, let somebody either let them sell it for a song to the creators, give it to the creators, whatever. So let these characters live again.
I mean, maybe not Gerard Jones, but the other creators definitely.
Well, yeah, that's a given there. It's like the Tarnish. One of my favorite characters is Prime. It's and he's involved in the character.
Yeah, and you're just oh.
Then you think about some stuff in the comics, is that why Kevin's closed his off?
Yeah, it definitely reframes everything. It seemed innocent in the comic book, and then you learn about certain creators' predilections, and then you go oh, is that why that happened? Or you start reading into it. I had the unfortunate revelation the other day. I was just scrolling through, and I saw a story about Ed Gale, who played Chucky and Howard the Duck. And it's this is a guy who I met at a con years ago and got his autograph. I've got an autograph photo of Howard the Duck from him. And then I found out that he was involved in I don't want to get us demonetized and say what, but you guys can figure it out.
Just Gerald Jones just saying that's enough.
That's a really great Cobra Commander.
A buddy of mine actually sent me this casting, and he matched. I didn't have to touch the blue. He actually got the silicone, the resin to match the blue of the figure perfectly. I just had to paint the eyes and the logo.
Yeah, no, that's really good. You should check out the one that we make too, Big Head Studios Customs. I still think that we make the best Cobra Commander, or the best hooded Cobra Commander sculpt. I haven't seen anybody top it yet, in my opinion. And I'm very like honest and open. Like if I saw somebody that I thought I was like, yeah, they whooped our ass, I would tell you.
That's something too. I made some like a gold
some Valiant, yeah, Solar. That's cool.
How do you pronounce it?
Solar is how I pronounce it.
Okay, I've Solar, and I go back and forth.
I mean, Solar sounds cooler, sounds more comic booky, so that's why. But I've never really heard anybody say it definitively. I mean, back in the day, it could have just been Solar, Man of the Atom.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way I always said it, because I actually started out reading the Gold Key stuff back in the day. I read, Magnus and Solar and Turok, and even read. I don't know how I got into it. I don't remember before Valiant Comics was a thing, but I ended up, I think, at an old bookstore finding a collection when I was a kid of old Gold Key comics, like everything from the Disney stuff they were doing to the superhero stuff they were doing, and all kinds of stuff. And so when Valiant came out, I immediately jumped on board because I knew those characters, and I'm a huge fan of Valiant Comics, the original Valiant Comics. I know it's been through multiple iterations at this point, and currently they're trying to get some things going again, which of course is causing new controversy with a new Bloodshot issue that just came out. I don't know if you've heard about that, but
yeah, I thought it was ridiculous, and it was led by
They apologize. Never apologize on the internet.
No, you don't bend the knee, and you especially don't bend the knee to a comic book mob, and especially not one led by Dennis Camp. So they should have just told that guy, go piss up a rope, clown skull. That should have been the response. You've already shown that you don't stand by your creators. And the funny thing is they came by and they gave me their business card at San Diego, and we're like, oh, let's talk about editing or writing and things like that. And it's like, well, now I know you don't support your creators, and you wouldn't support me as an editor. If there's any kind of controversy, you would immediately bend the knee, and you would immediately scrape and bow to people who aren't going to buy your comic book anyway. You had a real opportunity to make a stand for artistic expression and for art, and to not bow to the mob, and you failed right out of the gate. So it's like I think that they shot themselves in the foot.
And I lost.
Hey, look at Doomface. He looks really good. Some beautiful Kenneth Rocafort art there.
That's one of the things I do, like with the customizing stuff and the angle, and I love it. I do like weekly live streams, like where I customize extra figures. No,
that's good. The way that I got into it was, kind of like the way that I got into customizing, and then also just being a hardcore collector. I blame my little brother, because I had kind of like aged out of it, and I wasn't, it's like I played with Star Wars, I played with G.I. Joe, He-Man, all that stuff from the 80s into the 90s. And then my brother was big into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, I was buying the figures for him and going on the toy hunt for him. And it was really exciting because like back then there was no internet. You didn't know it was coming until it showed up in the store. So you'd get like the Archie comic and there'd be a character in it. You'd be like, Man Ray. And then you'd be like, that guy's kind of cool. And then like a few months later, you'd be at Toys R Us and there's like Ray Fillet. You're like, oh, that's the same character. So I was doing that stuff for him. And then when the Toy Biz Marvel stuff started coming out and it started getting more and more expansive, it wasn't moving fast enough for it. So like one of the things that really bugged him is we were reading the Ron Garney run on Captain America at that time. And they had brought back the Red Skull. And so he really wanted a Red Skull figure to go with his Captain America, and they didn't make one. And so I was like, well, let's get some paints, and I'll take this Nick Fury animated Spider-Man figure. We'll put the Ghost Rider skull on it. I'll shave off all the flames and sand it down, and then paint it up to be the Red Skull. And that was the first custom that I ever made, and it was for him. And it turned out really nice. Like, it turned out way better than it had any right to turn out, considering that I had no painting skill. Like, I don't know. I mean, what I did with the eyes and everything like that, I don't know that, like, I don't know I could go back and do that exact same figure again and make it look any better than it was. And so I got super into it. And then, you'd go to KB and it was always like, hey, Marvel figures, 3 for $10, Marvel Legends, 3 for $12, And so I started buying all that stuff for myself and, hanging on to it. And then pretty soon it was just, I had a collection to keep up with. And it's just branched out into all the, all of kind of like the 6-inch scale figures that are out there that I have any kind of affinity for. So I've got like Masters of the Universe again. I've got all the Marvel Legends. Like right now, like on my desk here, look, I'm working on a custom Swarm.
Oh, nice.
That I started. So I don't know when they're ever going to get around to him, but
the Sandman would be great for Swarm.
Yeah, it's like I found the Sandman for I had passed it up, and then I was in Ross and they had them for like $3.99. So I was like,
Ross here, they suck.
Yeah, Ross is. I mean, we've got a lot of Rosses near me. They're actually pretty good. I find like a lot of really good stuff there. So, like I said, $3.99. I don't really buy Star Wars anymore, but they had that Sheestavan and Wolfman from Skeleton Crew. It was like $5, and so I was like, $5. I want that guy. About some of the Jude Law figures just for their jackets, because again, $4. Why wouldn't you? So that's the only way that I really like buy Star Wars anymore is when it's clearanced out, and I think there's something else that I can do with it. Because they've just like turned me off to it so badly. But yeah, all the 6-inch scale stuff.
It's did you hear that Disney's trying to find a new boys brand since they don't have one?
I did. Do you guys know who that is?
Oh, get so low up.
Any idea?
Looks familiar.
That's Dania from the October Guard.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, like just around on my desk here, I've got like all kinds of like little customs and like works in progress. Dania's finished. That's just one that like I have.
You should join us on on the customizing stream sometime.
Yeah, I would love to. I when you reached out, I was like, are you a toy stream? I was like, I thought that's primarily what you're going to talk about, and then you were like, oh, do you have like a Doomface press packet? And I was like, oh, we're talking about Doomface.
We can talk about toys too.
We can talk about whatever you want. This is just a good general geek chat. Or not. I mean, we get honestly whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
It's still up with you on the topic.
Let's hear from. I want to hear from Sith for Life and Quinn down there.
Quick, I didn't shave for the. I had a pickup with my dermatologist from a psoriasis. So
yeah, it was definitely not specifically for this.
Actually, the psoriasis shows up on my face, so I want to put it off. The JBTM gave me psoriasis that I was forced to take by work. But,
don't say that out loud. We might get kicked off of YouTube. Go ahead, Sith. Impress him.
Well, this is going to be difficult. I've been doing this for 3 months, so.
Oh, see, that's good though.
Yeah,
we can encourage you, and then like go. You got to be shitting me, Private File, and until you cry bitter tears on the stream.
Yeah. I think that's why we have another guy that joins, and he usually gets teased quite a bit. So he decided not to show today.
So you've been collecting for 3 months, or you've been customizing for 3 months?
I've been collecting for about a year. I've been watching Matt and Jared over here for about 2 years before I kind of invited myself onto the podcast. And they haven't been able to get rid of me since. So
we've tried. It doesn't work.
They've tried so often.
And then Quinn, I gotta ask, are you like in a shop right now? Because I think I see people shopping back there.
Yeah, I actually stream from my comic shop. So.
Oh, very nice. Where's it located?
Arlington, Texas. So if you look geographically on the map, southern tip of Texas.
Okay, yes, I was out in, I went out to Dallas Fan Expo when we were out there, and we tried to hit as many comic book shops as we could before the show started.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to get out to the other parts of Texas and check out other shops. It looks like a great shop from what I can see.
You're welcome to come down whenever. Check out my Facebook page. Got pictures of the store all over the place.
It's a wonderful shop. So Quinn is where I used to live. I just moved about 6 months ago from Texas to Michigan. Mm-hmm. And Quinn is down there. I've known Quinn. How long have we known each other?
Oh.
How much money have you taken from me when I've gone into your shop?
Not enough.
Of course not. Of course not.
I'm waiting for him to sign over his 401k. So.
Yeah, Quinn's shop is awesome. He's got one of the coolest comic shops I've ever seen. Period.
You give me too much credit, my friend. Thank you.
I do, but I feel like I'm contractually obligated. So.
Thank you.
Alpha Proto's like, you're friends with Aaron?
Why does this show for you guys? Like, I showed up 4 times, with my comment. Why does that happen?
Oh, we're streaming on multiple channels.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so you're streaming on my channel, his channel, Sith's channel. So yeah, so if you type in here on StreamYard, it goes to every channel.
Yep.
So
Got it.
That's
So you can be offensive on multiple channels.
Yeah,
right. Feel free.
Across multiple planes of existence.
that's right. Throughout the multiverse, I can
Yes.
I can be a jerk.
So the multiverse will be coming to your comics soon.
Oh God, no. We're
Yeah,
never
yeah.
doing multiverse stuff in Kneel Before Doomface.
What? Well, I mean, I feel like you should bring in it. I don't know, like. Okay, well, let me ask you this: I don't know how old you are. Were you a fan of Disney Afternoons?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I assumed because your Darkwing Duck stuff is awesome. First of all,
Oh, thank you.
and just like you've been involved in a lot of Disney-related products, I didn't know how much of that was just because you may have, you were working with them, as opposed to those were things you actually really enjoyed as a kid. I mean, I grew up firmly in the '80s. I was born in '77, so Disney Afternoon was like a staple of my childhood. Whether it was Darkwing Duck or DuckTales or Chippendales Rescue Rangers or the highly underrated Gummy Bears. I'm sorry, I will preach Gummy Bears to my dying breath. It was awesome. Whatever. Anyway, I was just wondering.
Gummy Bears, remind me.
Yeah, I mean,
We get super strength when humans trigger.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was a huge fan of the Disney Afternoon. I was a teenager when it was coming out, and I got like super into it. Loved DuckTales, loved Rescue Rangers. My brother and I would watch those all the time. Loved Gummy Bears. Just like the whole Disney Afternoon, I was a fan of. But Darkwing Duck particularly resonated with me, and it was because it was two things that I was already into. I was already into the Disney Ducks because I was watching DuckTales. I had read Carl Barks' comics. I'd read Don Rosa's The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. I already had this huge attachment to Scrooge and the supporting cast. And then when Darkwing came out, it was like the marriage of two things that I loved, the duck stuff and superheroes. And so, since I'd read a lot of Silver Age, so I knew, because once I got into comics, I started going backwards, and I started like anything I could get my hands on, I would just like devour. So when Darkwing came out, it was like the perfect marriage of the two. And when I went to interview at Boom, and I had interviewed with them previously and turned them down because the money wasn't good enough. They had interviewed me when they were like trying to fill the, they needed an editor for Warhammer 40K. And I was interested, but like I said, the money just wasn't good enough. And so then the toy company I was working for an online toy company called Toy Rocket. And it was it had just started to fall apart because the owner had decided to have an affair on his wife. And so, with one of the employees. So, always a great choice, by the way, if you want to blow up your life. And so I wanted out. So I called Boom and I said, hey, you guys aren't hiring, are you? Yeah, exactly. I called Boom and I said, are you guys hiring? And they said, oh, come in. Yeah, we absolutely need somebody. Come in. Can you come in Monday? This was a Friday. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I went in Monday and I interviewed, and I didn't even get to leave. I had the interview and they're like, can you start now? We'll send Kate to the Staples to get you a laptop. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, I started like learning the ropes. But what I found out in the meeting was that they had the Disney license. And I said, well, how much do you have? And they said, well, we've got everything. We've got like Disney Standards, we've got Pixar, we've got Muppets. And I was like, wow. And then I said, so in Standards, does that cover Darkwing Duck? And they were like, well, what is that? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I have like had this idea in my head of like, if I got to, because I'm such a big Darkwing fan, if I could bring Darkwing back in comics, this is what I would do. I would call it The Duck Knight Returns. And I would set it like a year apart from the show. So we kind of have like a little wiggle room to, create some drama. And like, I had this whole like concept and they didn't know what it was and they didn't want to do it. So I had to keep fighting for them to do it. And then once they actually, I guess, got sick of me asking about it, they gave me a 4-issue limited series, and then when the numbers for number 1 came back in, it became an ongoing series because, man, people were excited about it. We went to Emerald City Comic Con in 2009 to announce it. And so I was on the panel. This is like the first panel I've ever been on. Mark Wade's up there talking about Irredeemable and Incorruptible and everything that's going on there, and you know, Boom's talking about the rest of the stuff that they're doing in their main studios line, and people are, you know, like interested or mildly interested. And then we get to the Boom Kids stuff, and we had this graphic that we put up on the screen. It was just the lightning bolt, like Dark Knight Returns, but it just said Boom Gets Dangerous, and there was like this gasp, this audible gasp that went through the crowd, and I was like, oh crap, they're here for this. And so, like, then we put the Darkwing images up on the screen, and like people started cheering. And at the same time, they dropped it online. So, like, on my phone, my assistant editors are sending me like all of these responses that are coming in from the internet. People like excited. Oh my god, I can't believe they're doing Darkwing. Oh, you know, I'm so excited. You know, I miss Darkwing so much. And I was like, vindication, because I'd been told repeatedly that it was like a nostalgia play, and like no one would be interested. You know, by Boom. You know, this is Boom leadership that had told me that. So. We did that, and you know, we launched it, and it was great. And then a bunch of shenanigans happened, but eventually they reprinted the work at Joe Books, and I was able to restore like the original scripts and bring it back in line with what James and I had originally intended, and it was even more well received than the Boom stuff at that point.
Nice. Always gotta love shenanigans.
But to your Gummy Bears point. So when we would get bummed out in the office, which happened a lot because working for Boom was not a great experience, you know, like our team would get like really bummed out, and my assistant editor Jason Long, he had kind of like a really monotone way of speaking, and so when we would get bummed out, we'd be like, Jason, read us the Gummy Bears theme. And he had it just under his laptop. He would just pull out the piece of paper, and he would like very much make a show of like, I think he dug it. He would like make a show of like kind of like, you know, prepping it, and then he would just go through, you know, Gummy Bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the Gummy Bears. And it would wreck us like each time. Like I can't even recreate how beautiful it was. Jason Long, love him to death, man. I've lost touch with him, but he kind of had like a really cynical nature, but every now and then, like this purity, like this beautiful, like the young undamaged boy that was young Jason Long would come out. And one of my favorite moments was we were sitting in the bullpen, and I said, hey Jason, did those colored pages come in yet? And he didn't answer me. He's just like looking at his screen and thinking, and I'm like, Jason, did we get the color page? Jason, and he looks up and he goes, what? I'm sorry, I was just thinking about Superman. It's like one of the purest, most beautiful things I've ever seen.
You were talking about speaking of monotone. It took me back to like when I was in college, and I had a math teacher, calculus teacher, and I had to change classes because I could not stay awake with him because he would talk in a monotone voice and make lame jokes. He'll pick a trash can up. Ha, ha, I feel like I'm wasting my breath. He wasn't doing it on purpose. That's the way he talked.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I would drink joke colas before I go to that class. Like, and I'm like,
so it's very much like the Bueller.
yeah.
Hmm.
Very
Well,
much.
I do have to say, I'm very glad that there are other people that remember Gummy Bears.
No, Gummy Bears is great. As a matter of fact, when we were at Joe Books, we were trying to get them to expand the license because Silvani and I, James Silvani, the artist on Darkwing, my partner in crime, the Statler to my Waldorf, or the Waldorf to my Statler. I'm not sure we've worked out who's who, but we had this whole plan. There's this story that was done in Disney Adventures magazine that was called I think it was called The Reign of the Chaos God. I might be fudging it a little bit, but or The Rise of the Chaos God. Anyway, it was about Salego, the Chaos God. And in Disney Adventures, it ran through each of the, or several of the properties, each in little chapters. So Salego shows up in the, with the Rescue Rangers, and then he shows up over here, and he shows up over there, and they weren't really connected. Like the characters didn't cross over, but Salego was the continuing thread, and it was a storyline that like fans really, really liked, and we'd get asked all the time, like, "Have you read that? Have you read that?" And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to do a story called The Return of the Chaos God, and we had it all worked out. And it was going to start with Darkwing, then it was going to jump to the past with Gummy Bears, Then it was going to jump to like Rescue Rangers. It was going to move through Goof Troop. It was going to, and then the main part of the story was going to end with Darkwing. But then Salego was going to get shunted off through the use of the interdimensional train that we introduced in Crisis on Infinite Darkwings. He was going to get shunted off and show up in the Gargoyles universe, and then it was going to be Goliath and the Gargoyles that ultimately destroy him. And I had Jim Magon on board to write like Rescue Rangers. I had Greg Weisman on board to write the Gargoyles chapter. I mean, we were gonna do it up. And now Greg is over at Dynamite. He's doing Gargoyles again, and they just announced a Darkwing Gargoyles crossover, which is the first Darkwing thing they've done that I've actually been excited about.
So I don't remember that from the Disney magazine, but like that's very like Disney's version of heavy metal, where you have like a bunch of various stories with one main through line going through there.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a shame. It's a shame I'll never get to do it because I think it would have been a lot of fun. I think that fans would have really liked it. But you know, this is like one of those things, like, you know, some of those storyline ideas that you had, it was, you know, Disney never rejected it. Disney was kind of on board, and of course, you know, it would have involved them moving more of the license to Joe Books, but Joe Books just as a company didn't have the bandwidth and didn't have kind of the vision for it. Which is
well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, when when it's something like that, I mean, you know, us outsiders don't know much about like what goes on inside the comic industry, but when you've got like a big, or, you know, maybe a big property, or in this case, when you're dealing with an entire company's IP, something like Disney, when those things come up, how often is it that when something like what you're talking about doesn't come out, is it like Disney saying, no, we don't want to do this, versus them being fairly, you know, hands off, and it's really just comes down to the company doesn't want to take the risk, as opposed to, you know, like, oh, Disney cared so much about these things that they were nitpicking every single thing that we did with their IP, and they ultimately have decisions. Like how hands-on are companies like that when it comes to that type of IP, or is it different with every company?
Well, I'll tell you, my experience. I always got more pushback and more obstacles in my way from the publishers I was working for than from Disney itself. For example, at Boom, when we wanted to do Darkwing, our Disney liaison was Jesse Post. Great guy, love working with Jesse, and he was all for it, and he was, you know, doing what he could to push it through. It was Boom that was the resistance in that case, and it was like, it wasn't until they finally acquiesced and gave me a mini series that I, you know, was able to do proof of concept. Boom, numbers came back, you know, no pun intended. Boom, numbers came back, and they were stronger than anything that they'd done. So it was like, oh, okay, you know, maybe he does know what he's talking about, and I got a little bit more leeway. With Joe Books, it was always just bandwidth and money. You know, they were a small company. You know, the reason that we got cut off at Darkwing issue 8 on our second series was not because the book wasn't selling, not because the book wasn't popular, not because the book wasn't acclaimed. It was because they only had so much money and bandwidth, and they thought doing a Pirates of the Caribbean book, because that was such a big movie, they thought that would sell better and that they would make more money. So they put us on hiatus and moved to that book. And then that book didn't do very well. And then, you know, not that much longer, they were out of business. Now with Disney, I will say this. When we were working with Jesse Post, it was great because Jesse knew all the properties. He had actually been one of the main forces editorially behind the Disney Adventures. So, you know, he knew his stuff. He knew his Disney stuff. He knew what we could do, you know, and he was excited about it. When we came back for the Joe Book series, Jesse Post had left, and we had some new people. And they were good people, but they were people that had come from other areas of publishing. I think like our approval person like had worked on a gardening magazine and then just moved into Disney because there was a publishing spot available. And so she didn't know the Disney properties. You know, she had to go through her big rule book constantly to find out what was allowed. And that's where we started running into problems where we started getting told no a lot. And it wasn't no because our ideas were so radical or because, you know, they wouldn't work or they didn't fit with what, you know, like what Disney presents. It was always because it's easier for them to say no than to have to do the work to find out if you can do something. So one of my biggest irritations with the Joe Book series, if you go through those, if you have the individual issues and you go to the back, there's an editorial in every single issue where I talk about the creation of the issue. The only one that doesn't have it is issue 4. Yeah, issue 4, which is, or maybe it's 5. I mix up the order now. I think it's 4, which is the introduction of a character that in our script was called the Juggernaut, because the story was called Nobody Swats the Juggernaut. Nobody Stomps the Juggernaut. You know, that was the running gag, because he was a little tiny gnat, but he's got the strength of, you know, like Marvel's Juggernaut. And at the last minute before we went to print, we were told we had to come up with a new name for him, because Juggernaut, well, that's a Marvel character. And I said, yes, that's who we're like tongue-in-cheek referencing. And they were like, well, that might create legal issues. And I was like, how? You own Juggernaut, and you own this character once he's in print. You know, once that name is in print, you own that too. Is Disney going to sue itself? Is Marvel going to sue Disney? Also, they can't own the word Juggernaut because it's a word that already existed. Stan Lee took that and applied it to a character. It is a word that's actually in the dictionary, you know, pre-existing the character. You know, so I had this big kind of argument with them. And it was like, well, we can go back to legal and we can check, but, you know, it'll take them a few weeks. It'll delay the book. And it was like, we weren't in a position to delay the book. So I had to come up with something easy that legal would approve. And so he ended up being called Natmare. And I absolutely hate it because it ruins a lot of the joke. It ruins a lot of the gag. The issue's still fun. The issue's still funny. But I had Jesse pull my editorial for that issue because I was like, I don't have anything to say about this anymore because the editorial is all about the creation of a character and a name that's not there anymore. And so it's the only issue that doesn't have one.
Just would have been an editorial of just bitching about how they.
Yeah, which is approved anyway. Me going like, you know, legal sucks. Legal doesn't like to do their job. It's easier for legal to say no than to actually look into something. You know, like, and anybody who's worked in a big corporation will tell you that. Like,
they want us to do our job.
Yeah, you go in to pitch a TV show, and this is what happens. Everybody's really on board. You know, you nailed the pitch. Everybody's excited. This whole table of people are excited, and then one person will raise a concern, and you will watch the fear spread from that person around the entire table. And then the answer is no.
It's like when you're in a staff meeting when it's about to be over and somebody asks a question at the end that makes it drag on for another hour.
Yeah, well, this is even worse because it's another hour of your dream getting murdered in front of you. Yes. You know, because you're watching everybody's fear because their mindset is, the corporate mindset is, nobody gets fired for saying no. What people get fired for is when they take a risk on something or they greenlight something and then maybe it doesn't work out for whatever reason. And then they get fired. So it's just easier not to do anything.
Well, that's definitely a stymies that creativity.
Yeah, no, look, good work, and especially now from Disney, if they put out anything good at all, it escaped more than it was by design. So, for example, X-Men 97, pretty well received, right? Mm-hmm. Bo DeMeo somehow pulled off a Hail Mary and even got that out as good as it was. I'm sure it was probably better with his original, before he had corporate execs coming in and going, well, no, you can't do this. And what about this? Like he talked about they couldn't use the Phoenix costume. Phoenix costume would have been perfect in that moment, but, they couldn't use it. So this is the kind of thing. It's like you have to kind of roll with the punches and you have to get the best version of the thing that you want to get out to the world and out to the fans, despite the fact that there is nothing but obstacles in your way.
The show going forward without him don't seem like that would be. It's not going to turn out as well.
I have no faith in it, and even in the things I've seen that they've changed or the things that they've talked about, that and the stuff that they've shown, I'm like, I don't have any interest in this. And look, let me be clear: I didn't love every episode of X-Men '97, but overall, I thought most of the episodes were good. I thought they nailed the tone. There's a lot there to really like and to invest in, and but that's not the way anymore. And again, you hear. You hear about executives coming down and giving it, well, what about this? And what about that? No, you can't do this. You can't do that. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just they have to put their stamp on it. If they're not telling you no for something, they're not doing their job in their heads.
Well, I think with stuff like that, I mean, I'll call it Hollywood for lack of a better term, but anything in the entertainment industry at this point, a staple has been, well, let's take something that has some nostalgia. Let's inject enough nostalgia in it to bring people in. And then as soon as we have that, let's change it. Now, maybe there's a variety of reasons why they change it. And certainly the most obvious examples out there are, when they change things for political posterity and things like that seems to be a big one that has changed a lot lately. But I'm sure there's all kinds of reasons why, just fear of something not working, or because, like you said, somebody just, they're not going to take the chance or whatever. And I think that's I mean, I don't want to say it's a new problem, but certainly the idea of fishing with nostalgia and trying to get people in on something and then changing it once you feel like you've got them hooked has certainly been something that has blown up in the last decade or so.
Yeah, it's I always say it's the skin of the thing stuffed with their bullshit. So whatever their activism is, whatever their story that they want to tell is, even though it doesn't fit, they just wrap the skin around it. It's like the She-Ra Princess of Power show. That was originally a different pitch. And they were like, oh, we don't take a risk on something new, but what if we just gave you She-Ra? And they tried to wrap She-Ra around it. It happens more often than not now, and fans don't like it. So when we set out to do Darkwing, one of the questions we got asked right away was, well, is this like a new version, or, or you got to like put a spin on it? And I was like, no, I want to do the show that exists. I just want to jump it ahead a little bit. I want to give people, I want it as much as possible to feel like another season of the thing that they love. And, granted, there's going to be some changes. There's going to be a little bit more continuity. There's going to be a little bit, because the Darkwing show was made like kind of Silver Age comic books, where it was like, what are we doing this month? That's why Darkwing has multiple origins. But I still wanted to play with that. Like, one of the pitches that I had was like, we're doing the regular series, and I was trying to get them to approve a secondary series because sales were so good. I said, we can bring Tad in, and he can do like 4-issue miniseries called The One True Origin of Darkwing Duck, and each issue is a different origin. And like the only thing I had was like a framing device where at the end, Goslin's like, because it was set up kind of the like the Batman episode, animated episode, where all the different kids are talking about Batman, and they each have a different version, and you got like Frank Miller's in there. I want to do it like that, where it starts out with Goslin being, Drake has put her in the Junior Woodchucks, and so she's with the chapter of the Junior Woodchucks, and they're out there, camping, but he's still watching over her to make sure that she's safe, and they're telling like ghost stories, and they get scared, and then Darkwing comes in, makes an appearance, and the kids are like, the kids have been telling their stories, like, I think he's like this, I heard Darkwing's like this, and then at the very end, when Darkwing shows up, Goslin ends up asking him. She's like, "Hey, you've never told me. Like, what did you make? Decide to be Darkwing Duck anyway?" And the gag was, it's him like sitting like Batman, and he's like, "Boy, there sure is a lot of crime in this city." And then instead of something coming through the window, he goes, "And I've got all these gas guns and fancy hats," and it's just walls and walls of his hat and like different and like the gas gun, And it's like that's just it. That was his impetus to become Darkwing Duck, because we thought it was kind of funny and kind of, and with Darkwing, you could get away with that kind of goofiness, which is because that doesn't count, So,
when you talk about like being a backup, or always talking about like always been say no, so you don't have to take any risk. What they did with Deadpool, they let that pilot trailer thing sit. He filmed that right after Green Lantern, and that sat on the shelf for like 4 or 5 years until he leaked, or somebody leaked it. Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to say that Ryan Reynolds definitely leaked that, because allegedly somebody leaked it.
Somebody leaked it. But yeah, it's like that was like easy money they could have done. It's like, and it was, once it got done what he did wanted to do with the character, it was a runaway success. That's the best thing they've done in recent years was Wolverine Deadpool. It's like the most successful movie they've done. Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally burnt out on Deadpool. I didn't see it. I'm burnt out on Ryan Reynolds, and I'm burnt out on Deadpool. But I knew it wasn't going to be what I wanted it to be. And there's one scene where they're like in the car, and Wolverine is just like completely dressing Deadpool down, that I think is really, really good. And I'm like, if the film was like that, I'd have been into it. But I knew it was going to be a bunch of goofy, just the same kind of like a bunch of dick jokes and a bunch of, so I was just like, I'm just kind of out, and I'm done with the fourth wall breaking. I think that it undermines your universe. It undermines, like, putting Deadpool in the regular MCU. I don't know how that's going to work, because if they keep with the fourth wall breaking, it's not going to work. You're not going to be invested in anything, because everything's just a goof.
Could be worse. Could be She-Hulk.
Oh no,
Yeah.
if she's going in there, so we're probably going to get them talking to each other about how. I mean, once they did the thing where it's like there was a drawer full of Infinity Stones and they were paperweights, and then we found out on the Loki show that all the decisions that were made were all part of Kang's perfect timeline. It's like, oh, so none of the characters that we were invested in have any agency whatsoever. They didn't make any of their own decisions. And at that point, I was like, nothing matters.
Exactly. Once they introduced the multiverse, nothing matters. It's like when they did the X-Men, like the Croatia arc, where they get killed, they just get a clone new body.
Yeah.
Like, no stakes. So I think was it Psylocke or one of the characters, like she was tortured and like disfigured, so she killed herself so she could get a new body.
Mm-hmm. And then you had to, you like, if you became disfigured or you lost a limb or something like that, no problem, just die and get a new body. And then they had to work around like, well, how does Wolverine keep getting new adamantium bones? They had to come up with a solution for that. And it just, now granted, if it would have been Hickman and he would have gotten to his ultimate conclusion, I think it would have been interesting because obviously that would have went away. But now all the characters are clones of themselves. They're not the original characters because they've all died. And who cares?
Yeah. Well, they killed off the older, the whole mess too. When they had young X-Men team and their older selves, they never sent the young ones back in time, so that then they had like the Marvel Universe reset and just muddled up everything. Then they killed off, made older Cyclops even more of a dick, killed Professor X, end up dying. Then the younger Cyclops takes his place. It's like, what?
When you have Nightcrawler just straight up murdering people with no remorse, like you've completely lost the plot. Even Wolverine.
Beast evil that kept torturing and killing Wolverine. It's like, why didn't you just use Dark Beast? He's in the main 616 universe.
They don't know what to do with Dark Beast. I was so excited when they brought him over, and like they just have never known what to do with him.
Well, what an evil beast! You have one.
I mean, are there? I mean, okay, so, and Jared, you know this. I've not been into modern comics for a while. Because of all these issues that we're talking about, I've steered away from them. They've kind of crashed their own continuity. So yeah, and because I don't really read comics, I don't get into like I used to when I was younger. But I feel like there are no more Chris Claremonts in comics, at least not to the level where if you do have somebody like that, they're allowed to actually do what they do best.
Well, they don't have the Chris Claremonts now have to go do the independent thing.
Well, yeah, and you do, and what happens, I would imagine is when you do have that, you don't get that backing and that reach and that kind of thing, and so you're not allowed to fully flesh out a universe and stay in tone and establish characters and make decisions in your books that actually make sense. Because I feel like, especially what Marvel and DC have become today, is they're just backing for Disney and Warner Brothers, right? They're just there to be a side project thing that helps promote the things that the larger companies want to do, and not there to actually be, their own stories and be there as their own form of an entertainment anymore. Certainly, and look, I mean, Warner Brothers has owned DC for a really long time. Most people don't realize how long Warner Brothers has owned DC, but it never used to feel like DC Comics were the redheaded stepchild of whatever, of Warner Brothers, right? Like DC felt like it was its own thing. And now that, whether it be, you can say it's because of this, the successful Batman movies we've had in the last, 35 years, or Marvel, or, an Iron Man and all that kind of stuff. These companies, I mean, that's why Disney bought Marvel, right? Like, this was just a stepping stone for them to gain access to IP and to characters, to do their own thing and make money, or push political ideologies, or whatever they want to do to it. And these great characters, these powerful characters that inspired so many kids like me in the 80s, just don't matter anymore. They're just you know, it's like you were talking about earlier. It's just the exterior. It's like, let's take the Avengers, and yeah, it looks like the Avengers, but that's not what's inside. You know, that we're gonna pack it with all this other crap, either because we're trying to push an agenda, or we're, you know, trying to push politics, or we're trying to push the next movie or TV show or whatever it is, or just because for the moment we don't care about these characters. So yeah, grab some dude off the street who wants to write a comic book about some political ideology, but they can't get their comic book written. Well, here, do it with the X-Men. Do it with Captain America.
Yeah.
Make Miss Marvel a thing, even though nobody cares about her. You know, and I don't know. It's really, really heartbreaking as somebody who grew up on these characters as their own thing, and now they're just puppets for whatever crap these companies want to do. They don't have their own. These characters don't feel like the characters anymore, and they haven't for a while.
No, and part of that is no group editors. You know, you don't have group editors anymore that like have ownership of a character. So, you know, it used to be like, oh, Captain America's going to get used over here in, you know, the X-Men this month. Okay, then that book's got to come over to the Avengers editor as well, you know, or whoever it is that's in charge of Captain America, in addition to the X office, to look at it, make sure it's consistent, it doesn't contradict anything they're currently doing, or it doesn't contradict the character. You don't have that anymore. What you have is a bunch of lazy editors or guys that have just completely checked out and are waiting to die, like Tom Brevoort. You know, who don't, you know, he admitted, I don't like the X-Men. I've never liked the X-Men, and now I'm in charge of the X-Men. Do you think he's going to like knuckle down and really like get into it and figure out what the fans want? He has no idea, because he doesn't know who the fans are, because he doesn't know who the characters are. So you've got a guy who doesn't care, who's just punching a clock until he can get his golden parachute, whatever that might be, or even if it's just the sweet release of death. And in the meantime, he hates you. He hates the fact that you care about this stuff, because he doesn't anymore. And so, you know, why are we doing this to the characters? Why is this all so bad? Because F you, that's why. You know, that's the attitude. They've taken an anti-customer, anti-consumer, anti-reader kind of mindset, in that they are the storytellers. They're going to tell you what you want.
And they're not going to listen to what you want. They constantly want to gaslight the fans.
Absolutely.
But it's one of the things that too, I was talking about, like the rebranding and like the She-Ra stuff, or the Thundercats Goal or nonsense. They were talking about. This made even more ridiculous with Thundercats Go. They were talking about the people gaslighting with that show, was saying it's got better animation than the 80s series.
It really didn't. I mean, I understand that the Filmation stuff was, you know, made to be recycled and things like that, but it's not. It wasn't better at all, and the character designs were far, far worse, and the story was far, far worse. You know, it's just, it wasn't even. It was not successful. And people say like, oh, it had like 4 seasons. No, it had like one long season chopped into fourths, because that's how Netflix works. So all that stuff was already being worked on when the first season aired, and it was just, oh, that's a great Skeletor. Is that Mondo, or is that?
It's Mattel. It's their Filmation, their cartoon collection.
It's Origins. It's just really close up in the camera.
Yeah.
Is that the one that came with like the Masks of Power?
Yes.
I bought that one just for the Masks of Power.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, hey, let me see.
Talking about really good figures. These crossover figures. I love the brilliance where you can actually just make them Thundercat characters.
Yeah, you can just make him Mumra, you know.
Yeah,
and,
the Mumra is phenomenal.
That Faker is great. See, now I take all of those, when I buy Origins, and I don't always buy them, to me, Origins was moving backwards. You know, so although I liked a lot of them, I was like, I have better versions of those now with the classics and things like that. But then they started doing like the Masterverse, and the Masterverse are just that much more posable, and they've started to get really good. So I will buy the Origins figures and translate the parts onto Masterverse bodies. So the whole TMNT, you know, line with its all the He-Man characters have been translated onto Masterverse bodies.
Well, now they're coming out with they're re-releasing. They're not. I guess it's not re-releasing necessarily, because there's new articulation and stuff.
The new 2000X stuff.
Yeah, the 2000X stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, we just saw that at San Diego Comic-Con, so those are cool. So, I mean, you obviously you collect this stuff. What's currently like your favorite line of action figures?
My current favorite like line that you can get everywhere at retail is GI Joe Classified. I'm loving those right now. Secondarily with retail, probably the Masterverse stuff.
I love the fact that they come back chrome.
Yeah, it's so good. And
Yeah.
like yesterday I picked up another. I just walked into Walmart and there was a lone Cobra Trooper on the retro card on there, and I bought a bunch of them already, but I still bought them. Like, I bought like 8 of the retro Vipers just because, it's like you gotta have a bunch of Vipers, and I already have a bunch that are, from the classified.
That's the beauty about troop builders. It's like they don't get. It's like you keep putting a troop builder out in every wave, even if you like don't see anything else. Versus troop weaver on the shelf, builder on the shelf. I'll buy a troop builder because it's troop builder.
Yeah, I need another Cobra Trooper, right? It's like I've got 20 of them, but I could use another. I used to joke with my friend Brian whenever we would be, because we worked together and we would be at the Frankenson show, working for a company called Mighty Pins, which is in Anaheim. It's you guys should go check out the store if you're ever out at Disneyland. It's right down the street, because they sell like Disney pins, but they also carry action figures and whatnot. And we would walk into the show. And see, Blade, it looks so good. We'd walk into the show, and as we'd walk through the aisle, you'd have the guys that had like the loose figures, and every now and then there'd be a bunch of Hydra Troopers in there, and I'd be like, Brian, do I need more Hydra Troopers? Do I need more aim? Do I need more hand ninjas? And he would be, he would either choose to tell me, no, you have 25 of them, or he'd be like, he'd enable me and he'd go, I think you do need a few more. So
it's one of those things too. It should be an evergreen thing on Hasbro Pulse. Always should be able to buy like Shield Agents, Hydra, AIM, and such.
Also, you should always be able to buy a regular red and blue Peter Parker Spider-Man. You should always be able to buy a Hulk. And then you can do like Iron Man, Captain America. You can like drop those in various times throughout the year. But the 2 figures that always sell out are red and blue Spider-Man and Hulk. People are always looking for those. And when they go like a year and they don't have any, people are coming in like looking for their kids. Like, do you have a Hulk? Do you have a Spider-Man? That's those are evergreen.
And I mean, I remember being a kid in the 80s, and take Star Wars, for instance. Regardless of what movie had just come out, regardless of what wave had just come out, there was always a Stormtrooper on the shelf. Right? Kenner was always releasing a Stormtrooper, and there was always a Darth Vader on the shelf as well.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow that idea got lost. I don't know when it happened or what happened there, but it just became about, okay, well, these are the 5 figures we're releasing this quarter, and that's it. And like you're saying, the evergreen characters or the troop builders or whatever it is, that used to be the staple. Like, that was the majority. Like, that's what you would go, like, oh, I can't find anything else. Well, I'll buy another Stormtrooper or, whatever it is. And then, yeah, and like with Star Wars, it was Darth Vader, right? Like, anybody going to buy their kid who's just now getting into action figures something wants a Darth Vader for their kid if they're buying them Star Wars figures. So those figures would always sell. That just doesn't seem to exist anymore.
Kylo Ren or the weird dude from Acolyte?
Yeah.
Kylo is the best seller out of all of the sequel stuff, but still not great.
Well, because at least he looked cool in action figure form.
You can imagine, if you're a kid, you can imagine him any way that you want to. You can make him it's one of the reasons that I said, like, aside from being a very divisive character that people didn't like, but part of the reason that you couldn't sell a Rose Tico figure to save your life is because she's also boring. Like, it's boring as an action figure. She's just in a farty looking jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't have
a deal with entertainment. I'm sorry to interrupt, but the Rose Tico. Did you remember, like, Entertainment Earth for Valentine's Day one time did a dozen Rose Ticos for $12?
Yeah, that was amazing. And you could really upset somebody by sending them that. I want to know. I would love to have been a fly on the wall when whoever pitched that went in and said, "Hey, we got all these Rose Tico figures we can't get rid of. I got an idea."
Send them to your worst enemy.
Yeah, it's like, or somebody who hates Rose Tico with a passion. You could just send him a dozen roses. It's fantastic. Quick little $12 investment, no problem.
See, I can't hate Rose Tico because in my mind she doesn't exist. So
yeah, the sequels don't exist in my mind either. Like none of those characters exist. None of that stuff matters.
Disney would have done themselves a favor with all the backlash from The Last Jedi. Just wrote it off and just say it didn't happen. They would, instead of trying to make that work within the universe, they caused more problems than anything.
Mm-hmm. And even the stuff that comes before, I don't care because all roads lead to the sequels. And as long as those are canon, I will not pay any attention to anything that it's like I'm not buying the merch. I'm not buying any of it. Even the old, even like when they released the old stuff, I just don't care anymore. It's like you guys severed my connection to any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Yep.
Well, we were talking about a week ago, and the only and they'll never do this because to do this, and I think this is what it boils down to do this admits defeat. And I don't think Disney's going to do that. But they have left themselves an out. I mean, they didn't do it on purpose, but they wrote themselves an out for getting rid of the sequels completely when they did Rebels and they created that whole world between worlds where Ezra went back and saved Ahsoka from dying by Darth Vader, and now we have an Ahsoka series. I mean, you could literally say that Ahsoka being alive changed the course of everything. I mean, we saw in that somewhat awful Boba Fett series, in the only 2 good episodes that had nothing to do with Boba Fett and were all about the Mandalorian, that Ahsoka's helping Luke build the Jedi Academy. You can just say that because she's alive now, he successfully builds the Jedi Academy, doesn't ever try to kill his nephew, and none of the shit in the sequels ever happened, all because Ezra went back and saved her. You can just write it off. It's there. They've already created it. They won't do it because, again, it would admit that they screwed up with, $1 billion worth of money they spent on 3 movies. But they should, because it's already there.
The smart thing would have been is like not throw out the extended universe immediately.
Oh, and then Kathleen Kennedy comes out and says that, it's like each one of these movies is a tough nut to crack. We don't have decades of source material to draw on like Marvel does, and it's like, here's the expanded universe right here. Yeah. And by the way, you are drawing for it because Dave Filoni keeps going in and stealing things from it and then putting it into his stuff and trying to make it his idea and doing a far worse version. Yeah, doing a far worse version of it than we got previously. It's like, do you think, Dave Filoni, that you can write a better Grand Admiral Thrawn than Timothy Zahn? You can't. And the proof is in everything you've done with him. Your idea. Yep. You can't have a character like Thrawn written by somebody who's an intellectual dullard like Filoni, because Thrawn can only be as smart as he is. And how do dumb people write smart characters? Whenever they fail, they just have the character be like, that was all part of my plan. It's all part of, that's what they do every single time.
Yep.
Look at the leader in Captain a lot of different things, but America shouldn't be one of them. The leader just, the probability said this. The probability said this. Oh, you were wrong, like multiple times. You're not a threatening villain. You're not a smart villain.
If only they had a trilogy of screenplays that they could have just adapted to a movie. That would have been weird.
Marvel, too. Why did they ignored 80 years of history and start pulling from the shittiest timeline of Marvel, the Marvel Now stuff?
The all new, all different is. Marvel Now was still pretty decent. There's some decent stuff that came out of Marvel Now, but
Marvel Now was
all different. Yeah,
Marvel Now was when I briefly got back into comics in Marvel in 2012 because I liked things like Superior Spider-Man. I thought was a good storyline. I liked seeing that whole storyline with Doc Ock. There was some decent things thrown in briefly. Most of it went off the rails after a few issues.
Yeah,
but there was some cool ideas in there. It just didn't last.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was mixing up Marvel Now with the all new different mess.
It was the Axel Alonso initiative. Was all new, all different.
That's what I'm more
like.
excited over, like stuff like.
And you know that a lot of that came from corporate too. It was like, look, we need new versions to carry on the mantles of these characters because eventually these actors that are playing them in the movies are going to get expensive. So we want to be able to do more diverse versions that are, we can hire cheaper actors. That was all part of the impetus as well. That's part of why Caffeinated Wolf said in the comments that we blame the writers a lot, but you also have to blame the editorial because they're the ones that are like either curtailing the writers or are coming up with the ideas themselves in the case of Marvel. And a lot of those people should not be coming up with ideas at all because they have none.
On certain writers, I will blame them.
Oh yeah, no, there's always plenty of blame to go around, but we can't let the bad editorial off the hook either.
Well, and I think, and this kind of goes into what you were talking about earlier, but like just the idea of bad editors at these comic book companies.
Do the editors even do anything anymore sometimes?
Well, they don't. I think the editors are there only as a stopgap, maybe a mouthpiece for their corporate overlords. Because, despite, I can't tell you how many, interviews and things I have heard about how awful he was to work with. Ultimately, if you look back at somebody like Jim Shooter back in the 80s, right, at Marvel. Mm-hmm. Despite that he was a gruff, some people called him an asshole and all these things, there was no denying what he did for Marvel in the 80s mm-hmm. and how successful he was. And part of that was because he genuinely gave a shit, mm-hmm. about what he was doing. And I think from all the evidence I've seen, it doesn't appear there are people like that anymore, really, well, certainly not at Marvel and DC. They're just, they're there, people that are just installed by WB or Disney or whatever to do this thing and really only be there again as like a support piece for the larger corporation. And they follow that through because they're not concerned with making it its own thing anymore. So there's no opportunity for somebody who actually wants to, put a great thing in place or take great characters and streamline them or keep the storylines cohesive and the characters cohesive or whatever it is, like what we used to have when an editor, for good or bad, and it didn't always work out, but an editor working for these companies would come in and say, okay, this is the direction we're going, and we're going to keep this, we're going to show some respect to these characters and to these teams and to these storylines and to these artists and to these writers. And maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. A lot of times it did. Obviously, more often than not, it worked out, which is why comics became such a big industry that they did, that just continued to grow over the course of decades because these people gave a shit about what they were doing and were trying to make things better and entertaining and tell good stories and create good characters. And that just seems to have just completely gone away at these, again, Marvel and DC.
You can only have the rug pulled out from you so many times as a creative. One of the reasons that I decided to do Kneel Before Doomface was because I was tired of it. I was tired of having, because at my heart, I am a long-term storyteller. I loved the Claremont's run on the X-Men. I love the fact that you'd get like a little plot thread and then he'd follow it up in like 2 years. You're like, hey, whatever happened to Donald Pierce escaping and murdering? Oh, here, Donald Pierce is back. That was, and especially with Darkwing, James and I not being able to finish our story and do everything that we wanted to do with Darkwing. And we had some really, really fun stuff planned. I was just like, what? I just need to do my own thing. And so that's why I decided to do Kneel Before Doomface. I can, I've got a bunch of issues already in my head. I know roughly where the story ends. It's just how we get there. And I keep adding new things in. And, working with Renzo, who's, such an amazing artist. He keeps coming up with, just like he'll draw stuff in and I'm like, oh, that's a thing now. Or he'll do a character design for a character that was just kind of a throwaway character. Like one of the characters in the first issue is the Liger. And he was just originally a one-panel gag, and Renzo just went in and designed such a spectacular costume for him that I was like, well, that character's a semi-regular now. We're going to use him more. And nobody can tell you no. Nobody can tell you that you can't do that, or you can't do this joke, or this is offensive. This is problematic. It's like that's not That's not a thing when you do a creator-owned book. So we're having the time of our lives. And that's Twilight. She makes her first appearance in book 2.
I love the look of this one. And I'm a huge Transformers fan, so.
So you know what the inspiration for that costume is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's Circuit Breaker. You know, and I was like, I want an electrical character, and you know, it would be cool if her suit looked like a circuit board, and so yeah, Circuit Breaker is the model. Now, Circuit Breaker is just the silver tape and then nudity underneath because it was the '80s and things were awesome. But I wanted her in a bodysuit so that when, you know, it can get torn and things like that, so you can show those kinds of that kind of damage. But yeah, this is my Instagram. There's a bunch of stuff on there. Bunch of stuff for the books if you guys want to check out pages and things. There's me and James over there, James Silvani, my partner in crime on Darkwing. There's me and Aaron Lopresti there in the middle.
Aaron's such a phenomenal artist too.
He's so good and super great guy. Like just a really, really good guy. Like I said, I met him because of Sludge. It was 93. I think it was 93. And my brother and I had gone to our first ever San Diego Comic-Con. And I didn't know what to expect. I'd never been to a comic convention before, so I didn't know that like the creators actually showed up. So I walk up to this table. There's all this Sludge artwork, and I was like, "Wow, where did you get all this? You know, this Aaron Lopresti work?" And the guy behind the table was like, "I'm Aaron Lopresti," and I was like, "What?" You know, and so I got to gush and tell him what a huge fan I was, and we've been friends ever since. And that was before I ever got into the industry.
I lucked up on I went to Heroes Con several years back. A friend of mine, he had free tickets, and he asked me, "Do I want to go?" I said, "Sure." And I was going through like somebody's like $20 box, and they were great at books. And I got a signed #1 Sludge by Aaron, like graded. It's like for $20. Like score, my favorite, one of my favorite Ultraverse characters, signed by the artist, graded.
Can't get any better than that.
I probably have one of the biggest Ultraverse collections.
Yeah, no, I bought all that stuff. I still have every single Ultraverse figure that was released in the package, as well as
I got them hanging on my wall downstairs behind my workstation where I customize that.
Mm-hmm.
And they look great on the cart. They're not great figures, but they look great on the cart.
No, there was only let's see, was there anybody from that line?
Wave 2 would have been awesome though. You had like Lord Pumpkin, Sludge, and just how couldn't we got those? One more wave.
The sculpting was a lot better on the second wave. Yeah, it's a shame that it never came out.
Never understood the vehicles though.
Say what?
I never understood why they did vehicles.
Oh, I don't think I have any of the vehicles. I don't even remember that.
I didn't get the vehicles either because they don't make no sense.
Who did they have?
They had like a 4x4 like off-road vehicle, and I forget what the other one was. It's just they were ridiculous like cars, like but they fly.
Well, I mean, you know, you go to the toy store. I remember going to the toy store and seeing like the Flash on a motorcycle that you could pull back and let go, and then like the Marvel one had like Silver Surfer on a motorcycle, and I was like, "What are we doing?" But I guess kids don't care.
Yeah.
Well, or like when Toy Biz first got the Marvel license, right? They had remember the Wolverine motorcycle that had the claws that you pull him back, and as like, you know, I mean, I that stuff is very you know, it doesn't go with the character 9 times out of 10. However, to me, a lot of that stuff, like the vehicles were always, I mean, you know, especially growing up when I did, all of us from the 80s, right? Like whether it was Star Wars or G.I. Joe, or even later on in the 80s with the Ninja Turtles, I mean, half, sometimes 90% of the fun were there were the vehicles, right? It was having the Millennium Falcon, or, you know, having the Mobat or the Rattler, or, you know, having the Turtle Van or whatever it was, right? So yeah, I mean, it was kind of a, you know, when you get into characters like comic book characters and things like that, it's a stretch, but I always still found that stuff fun. You know,
yeah, the Wolverine motorcycle was weird because you could flip down the headlight and it was just his Logan face on the front of the motorcycle, and you were like, why is that cool? Like you know, you want to be in that meeting with and be like, why would people want that?
Oh yeah,
or the infamous morphing ones where like the gun comes out of
I still want that Punisher gun crotch thing. I have not found one for a price I'm willing to pay, but I would love to have that in the collection.
It's such a great curiosity, that Punisher figure. It's like in mid transformation, it's just the barrel is just coming out of his crotch. I thought that was a good idea.
I don't know. And a lot of times, you can totally tell, like the people that are putting this stuff together just have no concept.
I believe you can find that version of the Punisher on adamandeve.com.
Yes. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so we've got so much good stuff. That's a cover for issue 2. That's Doomface's Major Domo Lexi, and a nice sculpture of Doomface. There's a lot of hints and things like that in some of the covers, some of the things that we're doing. There's a lot of hints to like future developments in the comic book. The way that the pacing of the book worked out, we didn't hit in our initial funding. We didn't hit 22,000. We did go over it since then. But the promise was if we'd hit 22,000, we would have done an additional, like book chapters 1 and 2 would have been combined into one big chapter. Okay. So we didn't hit it. So this is actually in chapter 2. She actually doesn't appear in costume until issue 2 because of that change. But you do get, we did hit the goal where everybody got the 8-page prologue, which is Doomface in the 80s. So there should be some fun nostalgia there.
Nice.
That was the when he was banished.
Customizer brain. I'm sitting here like, the AOA Apocalypse would be a good base for Doomface.
There's a couple of figures that I've found that they would be pretty good. We have busts on the campaign that you could purchase. I'm in the process of like hand painting each one of those right now, so that then I'll sign and number them for the people that ordered them. But we tried to do as many special things as we could. We tried to make the campaign a big deal. I want people to get in. We maybe did too many covers. There's 12 covers in all. But people responded to it. We had a lot of people that went all in. We had a lot of people that picked different covers. So
I got 2. So.
But did you really? Which 2 did you get? I'm sure you got the Roquefort. I'm sure.
Yep. I got. Where's that? I love this one. I got this one.
Yep, the Kenneth Roquefort. That's the bestseller.
I think I got the regular cover too.
Mm-hmm. The true cover A.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got old man brains. I was gonna kind of forget stuff.
No problem.
I love this cover.
It's so good. He did that like in 2 days.
What?
Yeah, it was amazing. Like he was like, I'd love to do a cover for this, and I was like, I'd love you to do a cover for it. You're like one of my favorite artists of all time, but I'm not sure I can afford you. I haven't even run the campaign yet, but he wants me to do some writing and some editing for him in the future. So he was like, we'll just trade. Like when I need you, I'll hit you up. And I was like, okay, great. And like 2 days later, I had this. I was like, oh my god, this campaign is real.
It just sounds like just a blast of a comic. I can't wait to read it.
Caffeinated Wolf says, I'm super excited to get my copy of Kneel Before Doomface. I am super excited to get it to you. I can't wait till everybody gets a chance to read it. I'm really excited for people to read issue 2. And then, like we were talking earlier, I think Caffeinated Wolf, if I'm not mistaken, is Andy Andrew. And we were talking online about how, you're excited about your first issue, you're excited about your second issue, but really as a creator, you're excited like when you no longer have to lay the foundations for things, because that's what 1 and 2 are largely. It's establishing the characters, getting you to understand the world that they're in. There's a lot of world building you have to do in those early issues, and then when you get into 3, 4, 5, 6, you really start to like taking all the things that you've put out on the table, all the Chekhov's guns, as you would, and you get to start firing those off, and that's where it gets really fun for me.
And all this is linked to in the description down below if anybody wants to check this out, and I highly recommend. With the backer kit, you can still take orders right now.
Yeah, we can still take orders. There is a digital option for people. Like I know money's tight for a lot of people. I know the economy is really rough. Groceries are expensive. Everything's expensive. But there is like a $10 digital option. So if you're like, I just want to read this, I want to check it out. We tried to give a variety of levels for people to buy in at, because we knew that not everybody's financial means would be the same. And like I said, it's really important to build readership. I want you to fall in love with these characters. I want you to be excited about where they're going to go. I want you to be excited about who's going to come up against who. So that's really the goal. I mean, people who buy it and just put it in the bag and get it graded and put it on their wall or put it in their collection, thank you too, because support is support. But what I'm really excited about is for people to read it.
That's one thing I think a lot of people feel like they try to make these new IPs, and like there's been a lot of people doing their own toy lines and stuff. They don't do any kind of fiction connected to it.
Yep. If
you don't have you can't build like an emotional connection to the characters. Why do I want to buy your product? So it's like it might be cool. I might cherry pick. If it looks cool enough, I'll pick up one or two. But I kind of want to know more about the character. I want some know the history of the character or the personality, and then get to like the character.
So yeah, that's the whole ball game. Is you want people to connect to the property and connect to the IP.
That's what
to the
nostalgia is like. Why it's a thing. We like those characters.
The reason we have it is because we're attached to it. Like, look, I mean, would I have made like if I wasn't attached to Masters of the Universe, would I have made a King Clawful custom? Where he's got like a thing of power and like mutate. Now he's got like the 2 large claws and he's got the the extra shell armor and things like that. Like, it's because I'm attached to that character. In my head, I'm telling stories with that character when I look at the figure on the shelf. That's a part of it. And everything in Kneel Before Doomface has been designed to be very toyetic. I didn't even though there's a comedy to it. It's very like kind of like Venture Brothers in its style. Venture Brothers. If you like The Tick, you'll like it. If you like Sam and Max, you'll like it, because that's all very much my sense of humor. But there's still a serious story being told. The characters are still going to be in situations, that they'll be in danger. There'll be stakes to the story. It's not just a big goofball romp.
Well, so it's a really not going to clone them when they get killed or off, or just...
No, the only way to come back in the Kneel Before Doomface universe is if you are resurrected, you are undead. So there's no, and probably you lost a lot of your faculties along the way. So there's no coming back from the dead in this book. There's not a lot of the multiverse cop outs and things like that. It is a book that's designed to have stakes and to make you invest in this character and not stop caring when I go, oh yeah, we killed him, but now here's his son or here's his clone. It's like I want you on board for each one of these. And like I said, they're designed to be toyetic. They're designed to, if you walked by and you just saw the figure on the shelf, you would stop and go, oh, what is that?
Exactly. And they definitely have that toyetic design. It's one of the things I love about, like we were talking about, like the nostalgia. I have more custom Ultraverse characters than any other custom person out there. I think actually probably search for Ultraverse, you probably see me more than the actual books now.
You might because there's, like I said, I've got so many of those saved in my collection because they're so damn good. You've done such a good job with all of those, and I love those characters.
I kind of feel like I'm trying to help keep recognition of the brand too.
Right, to keep it out there. Like maybe one day it'll go back to the creators and we'll get some stuff. But I'm not going to hold my breath either, because
I would kind of love to see I know it's probably a legal nightmare, but they surrendered all the trademarks that are available except for Exiles.
Yeah, they just keep hanging on to that. Like, I'd love to see Lopresti have Lord Pumpkin and Sludge.
He needs I know he did Garbage Man, but I'd love to see him have some Sludge back.
He wrote a lot of those too, because if Gerber was late on the script and they needed to go, he'd get in there and he'd write like some of the issues. So, and now he's doing like Wraith of God, which is
creative,
fantastic.
like how he wrote the dialogue for Sludge, where it's just jumbled up words, but you can still figure it out what he's trying to say. Because his mind is all messed up as well.
Yeah, and I love those little stylistic things for each characters, or for different characters. Like, for example, Doomface has a very specific font. He has a font that's different than everybody else's, but that font doesn't have bold. And I use a lot of bold when, especially when you're doing villains and they're making their declarations and things like that. You want certain words to have the emphasis. And so, what Bill Williams came up with, and then what Darren has carried forward, is Bill was doing he would do the word in black, but then he would drop a red background behind it when it was supposed to be bolded. It looked really good. And so what DJ has done is he's done pretty much the same thing. He found a slightly different font that was very close, but he can manipulate it a little bit easier, and so the bolded words appear as red. So it gives Doomface a unique kind of see here it's trash hand. In the actual book, it's a little bit of a different font, but very similar. And this is him. This is Lexi objecting to her new costume.
Jared, I think it's time for a custom Doomface figure.
I'm actually been kind of recipe for that.
Now let me, if I may, Jared. I know you're the genius when it comes to customizing. However, maybe something you may not have thought of. Because I'm just sitting here while y'all are talking, looking at this picture and looking at the figures in my collection that might work for a custom. You tell me. Some AWOC figures that have pretty similar armor. I'm just saying, might make a good base for a custom.
Yeah, that'd be good. I've thought about making a custom figure. A couple of people have told me that they're going to. One thing that you may notice, especially in this page here, Doomface's armor is alive. So all the faces on the armor, like you'll look, the shoulder pads and occasionally the knee pads react to whatever it is that he's doing or he's saying, and so sometimes they're like super on board, and other times you'll see they're like rolling their eyes because even they're like like exhausted with it.
That is clever. I didn't notice I think I noticed like the knee pads having different expressions before, but from one another. But I didn't catch on to that.
Yeah, and that'll become more and more prominent as the series goes by. It's a very subtle thing in the first two books, but a couple. Actually, I think the only person that picked up on it was Caro Brown. She read an advanced copy. I like to have multiple people look at it because I have been living with it so long and I've looked at it so many times that I know I'm going to miss stuff. I'm going to miss little typos and things. It's always good. Even when you're an editor, it's always good to have another editor look at your book. And she's the first person who picked up on it, was like, oh, I love the fact that the armor is reacting to things that he does.
That is cool. Such a unique feature, like doing that.
Well, it's like, he had to have faces all over his armor because he is Doomface. So, it made sense for his armor to be, be alive and be reacting. There just to be different faces all over. The chest is a face, the knee pads are a face, the shoulder armor is a face. And then you've got, even on Lexi's armor, you've got the little Doomface face symbol. So yeah, it's like it picks up that motif, and it's kind of cool because it just occurred to me the other day. I was like, oh, that logo is a T-shirt. He's got his logo. You can just do that logo on the front of a shirt, and it's real simple. And people who know will know. So yeah, it's all about branding. It's all about making your characters interesting looking and making them have appeal. Clearly, I've been having fun with Grok and its little ability to animate things. It does pretty good on some things. Don't give it a crowd shot though. Give it a crowd shot and it loses its mind.
I can imagine start bleeding, phasing through and arms twisting out this way and there.
Yeah, or even and it cannot, for some reason, it does not know what to do with Colonel Silverstreak. I've tried to animate him a couple times, and it always changes him. It always kind of redraws him. Whereas with Doomface and Lexi, it really doesn't. It keeps them consistent. I guess maybe he's a little. And Twilight, it didn't change Twilight at all. It just animated her. So. And that cover is by a very talented artist who goes by Pepe Draws. I found Pepe because he was posting Marvel Rivals fan art, and did a couple of pieces that I liked so much that I had him do two different covers. I had him do Twilight, and then I had him do the Lexi in front of the ice sculpture.
It's like the instrument, almost like it's a mixture of I don't know like a live wire circuit breakers in there, but almost kind of a little bit of Rogue in it too. With the green and the...
People have said Rogue, which I didn't really think about, but I guess it makes sense.
It's the green and white with black streak in the hair and.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's actually like she's got kind of like blue. If this were like animated, like when she uses her powers, like you would see the blue like light up through her hair. and then the electricity actually arcs across her body and across the little circuits. So it's how she regulates her power.
So the cartoon's coming next week.
I would love that. I already have voices in mind. So I'm always and when I plan out action sequences and things like that, I know what song is set behind it in my head, and so there's actually a pretty brutal scene in a future issue that's set to a song that I already have in my head, and I will probably have the song playing on the radio in the background just so we can get into the panel, so people can kind of like get the full, if they want to put the song on as they read the book. That's cool. Crack Magazine used to do that. They used to do jokes where they'd have a story and they'd say, since this scene takes place in the Arctic, read it in front of your open refrigerator to get the full effect. I love ideas like that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Coheed and Cambria, the band, and they have their comic books and
Amory Wars, right?
Yes, Amory Wars. Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's kind of that similar where you have to go listen to the music and you have to read the book and then you have to go back and listen to the music again. It's a fun experience. It's different.
My friend Jesse Blaze Snyder did that as well. He did a book for Image called 6 Issues, and it's 6 short stories, and there's a song tied to every one of them. So you can listen to the song as you read the story, and it lined up just like a murderer's row of talent. We had Andrea Tammy on there, who's a great artist. We had Jason Pearson before his unfortunate passing. I think he even got like Eric Larson to do some of the coloring, because there's one story in particular that has that like kind of old school comic book for color, and Eric's really good at that. Speaking of Eric's, there's Eric July from Dallas Fan Expo, who came by and picked up a copy of the preview edition of Kneel Before Doomface. So very appreciative.
Which he's been like just nailing it with his like universe.
Yeah, no, his stuff is killing it. And now he's got other big YouTubers coming in and contributing to the universe. You got like Nerdrotic, you've got Mauler. Those guys all coming in and doing stuff for him.
I think like Yellow Flash brought his character over.
For Rip Ascend, yeah, it's not part of the universe, but he did it through Rip Ascend, which is looking more and more attractive, especially as Indiegogo and Kickstarter play like weird games with the backers and with the money. It seems like it may be time to look at other methods of distribution.
He's been setting up like huge distribution warehouse too, like set up all this.
He's got action figures already, man. He's doing figures with McFarlane.
I saw that. It's like which I did like a kit bash, like a simple kit bash of his Ice character, but
McFarlane likes to reuse parts, and there's some, you can get away with like what I call like the generic superhero body. There's not a lot on, Isom's costume is your traditional skin tight superhero uniform, so you can just use a base body to make that figure. They start doing, when they get into like Yaira and stuff like that, I think they're going to have to do, or the Horseman, obviously they're going to have to do, more custom parts. But just to get your foot in the door, get that first figure out, like Isom's a great choice because it is just a very sleek costume.
And it's his flagship character too to get out.
Can you click on the top one right there? I want to explain something about.
Which one? This one?
Yeah. That is Iggy the Inflatable Iguana. He is in Kneel Before Doomface. He is he's basically our character with the heart of gold. He believes truly in his little inflatable heart that it never hurts to be helpful, even though it always does. He is like our eternal optimist, which kind of balances out some of the other characters. And I love writing him. I've had that character since, God, the 90s. And so originally it was like the idea was because actually I had several pages of a comic drawn previously that was him and Spam, his human sidekick there, and I had several pages of it. And so when I decided to do a creator-owned book, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I could make them the main characters of the A story, but then are people going to dismiss it because there's a lot of superhero stuff out there? What makes this different? And as I was coming up with different villains. I always love like a Dr. Doom type, a Skeletor type, a Hordak type. That's you can see all those influences in Doomface. There's some primeval from the Ghostbusters cartoon with the gorilla. I was like, well, what if I told the story from the villain's perspective? What if the villain's story was the A story, and their story was the B story? And so that's kind of how those two things came together. So in the first 2 issues, there's no crossover between the A story and the B story, but the A story and the B story will eventually intertwine.
Nice.
It's really cool. Like one with the villain's perspective, and it's like everybody goes by what the hero perspective. I like switching up things like that with going between hero story, villain story.
See, Caffeinated Wolf, I was right. Caffeinated Wolf is Andy Andrew. He said it was great to see me in Dallas, bring Doomface to Ripascend. And he says Iggy would get along with Dirty Deeds' character. Is it Spingy? Is that how you pronounce it? That was my favorite character in Dirty Deeds, by the way. I just read that this week.
Well, gentlemen, I'm sorry to interject, but it's time for me to go. I got to close up the store. Sorry I wasn't on a little bit more, but I got kind of busy here with customers.
No, that's good. Go make that money.
It was nice meeting you, bud. I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you're ever down this way,
do it again.
Feel free to stop by the store.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll do a stream again, man.
Yeah. And until next time, guys.
See you, Quinn.
See you, Quinn.
Okay, so it's Spingy. Like it. Oh, that image is that's by Emilio Ordinola, fantastic artist. When I was doing the book Death Rage over at Merc with Murphy, and it's the first time I've ever worked with a co-writer, and it was a lot of fun. Murphy was great to work with. She'd already set up they'd already done 4 Kickstarted issues when I came on, and when I came on, they were like, "Hey, we're going to release these in stores, and we kind of want to do something a little." We want to beef it up a little bit. We want to draw some more connectivity between the universe. So that's what I did. I came in and I started making connective tissue between all the characters and doing a bunch of background. Again, this is another thing that was pulled out from the rug was pulled out from under me, because I thought when I was brought on that what we were going to do is we were going to build a cohesive superhero universe and expand it out. And what I didn't realize was that one half of the owners was only interested in having a certain number of issues that he could then spam out a bunch of lewd covers on. Whereas the rest of us were trying to make real stories and real characters. So it was a cash grab, unfortunately. But I still think if you guys can find the Death Rage trade, I definitely recommend picking it up. We had a lot of fun on it. It's basically Death Rage is a character that's kind of like Captain America meets Deadpool, and so if you want to see what kind of my kind of writing would be on Deadpool, Death Rage is as close as you're going to get.
Love I'm assuming she's the villain.
Yeah, that is the villain of the piece. That is Pixel. She has a much longer name that even I can't pronounce, even though I came up with the longer name. She's a water elemental.
Really cool looking character. I like it.
Yeah, the fun thing was Murphy had put in these little murderous teddy bears, these little cybernetic teddy bears, and when you first see him, you kind of when I read through her issues that they had kickstarted, I was like, are these real or are these just in his head? And then once I got further along and I was like, no, there actually is an army of murderous teddy bears. I was like, that's fun. And then I called her up and I said, hey, the bears don't talk in this version. When we do the reprint version, can we give them all voices and have them talk? And she was like, oh my God, I love that. And then we went back and forth and we came up with some really little fun bits with the stuff that was already on the page. Most of the Death Rage book, the first 4 issues. Now I did add some pages here and there to give it context and to set up a framing device, and I wrote some all new original pages. But most of those first 4 issues are all Murphy, and then me going in and working with her to re-dialogue everything and recontextualize everything, and just pump up the insanity. And it was an absolute blast.
Just the artwork is beautiful too on that one.
Yeah, Emiliano is so good. I really want to work with him again. He's now I kind of am, in a way, because I was doing some stuff at TCM Press, and he came on to Silent Nights with Dolan and I, and so I am working with him again. But I'd love to work with him on an original property that I own. He's so damn talented. He and Murphy did a book together. The first issue's out. It's called Damsel. I think you can still find it online, although the campaign is closed. And I know she's going to be working on Damsel too. That's a really fun book as well that they put together. That's one of our villains, the Soviet serpent known as King Manaconda.
He's got a fun look.
Yeah, he's like Russian mobster, Snake Man. I want to do my own serpent society.
You got the mafioso tracksuit.
Big steel jaw. This is actually a character that I created on when I used to play City of Heroes.
Dude,
Oh, don't even get
you
him
said
started on City of Heroes.
I love City of Heroes. I still
said the magic
City
words.
of Heroes is great.
You've just ensured that's all that's going to get talked about for the next hour.
So Manaconda, the Liger, although Renzo gave him a really nice redesign, and Colonel Silverstreak. Oh, and even Doomface's younger brother, Lord Malignus, is those are all City of Heroes, City of Villains characters that I played.
That is awesome. Do you still play?
No, I know that they reopened it on another server. I need to go back and play it. You know what's funny is really talented artist I know, love her to death. She's so fun. Sora Sung. She and I bonded over the fact that they were both City of Heroes and City of Villains players, and I kind of think we might have actually played together once on the villain side, but I'm not positive because it was so long ago. But as she was telling me about her character and the way she played her and things like that, I was like, oh my god, we might have played together. I think I remember this.
My buddy that does the comic book unboxings on my channel, like with he named his comic book shop after City Heroes. It's Arch Villain Comics. And
Very nice. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that game. I'm gonna there's a lot of inspiration that I took from it. One day I'm gonna use the name Ghost Widow on something.
Put in the private chat. There's a link to the Homecoming forums. That's where you go to set up your new account set for City Heroes.
Oh, cool. Let me open this in a new tab so I can do that later.
The character.
It's such a great character creator. Yeah, the character creator. That's a lot of the stuff. So I had to. I didn't have any images of my characters or anything like that, so I had to just find references online to different costume pieces, and that's sort of how we it went to Renzo. Now you couldn't do a tracksuit on City of Heroes, but he did have a very similar. King Manaconda had a very similar look, so we were able to capture it.
Very nice. I've kind of been doing the kind of similar thing with I have characters I created back when I was in high school, and I made some recreated them in City of Heroes, and I've been tweaking them here and there, and I actually been trying to build a comic universe myself. So.
Yeah, no, dude, do it. It's now's the time.
Don't let him undersell this. He has put a lot of time and effort into this. I have read many of he's written whole documents on the backstory of this universe. It's phenomenal. He's trying to undersell it. Don't let him do that.
He just does it in his spare time.
This is something he's worked on for a long time, and it's really good. And yeah.
Was that the Corruptor that I saw up there?
Which one?
Right in the blue.
This one?
No. For back the way you came.
Oh, this one. This is one of my main villains.
Oh, okay. It's from a distance with his face, I thought he looked kind of like Marvel's Corruptor.
Several of those customs that he's got are his original characters.
Very nice. Oh, see, that's looking cool.
Yeah, like that one. Right? No, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, dude, you're so damn good, man. I love your stuff. I've been following it for a long time.
What we got?
Well, now show the cover page.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I like that with his big the interchangeable robot arm there.
Yep. It's actually was discussing with a buddy of mine, when I had the big character with the red and blue pants, his name's Bruthen. And he's like, it'd be cool if you made a villain of it and made him give a cybernetic arm and got 4 tusks and stuff like that. I hadn't thought about making a villain. That's a cool idea.
I've told you I'm still waiting on the version of this character that has lightsaber tusks. Been telling you that for a year. I have not seen it come to fruition. I'm disappointed.
Would they be curved tusks, or would they? How do you get a lightsaber to curve?
I don't know. Well, they had lightsaber whips. I mean, they had lightsaber whips somehow, so I feel like you could get it to curve, right? Somehow.
What's this guy's name?
This one's Bruthen. And the villain version is Thragon.
When I first saw him, I started laughing to myself, and my friend was like, "What are you laughing at?" And I showed her a picture, and she goes, "Why are you laughing?" And I was like, "It's Trumpy all grown up." And I don't know if you guys are Mystery Science Theater fans, but there's a movie called Pod People, and there's a little alien creature. And I was like, that's as soon as I saw that, I was like, that is what in my head canon, that's what Trumpy grew into.
That's his main character of the story.
And who's this?
That's Laurel Thurian.
This is cool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if only you knew like an editor that could help you put all this together.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, we buy them. We already told him repeatedly we would.
Now go up. Show the artist splash page that you did, that you had done. You had commissioned.
What did you do to Titania down there? Did you do what everybody should do and take that little camisole off of her costume so that it's
Yep, took that off.
Yeah.
And
there we go.
This just strips off. It's just painted purple. You gotta repaint the ad section spot. Then I put up a matte on her face because it's so shiny.
It is really shiny. I wish she had come with an alternate head as well. Like I would have liked a different face portrait for her to play around with.
Oh yeah.
I guess we're just lucky we got Titania because it took them forever.
It's like also too like, why don't we have UFOs?
Why don't we have UFOs? Why don't we have the wizard? You know, and the rest of the Frightful Four. Why don't we have like Medusa in like a really Frightful Four look? Why don't we have Sandman in his Frightful Four look? You know, you can kind of put together a lame Frightful Four, but you need the wizard.
Oh, another commission piece. For mine, it's Kevin Sharp. I got commissioned him to do this one, and Ramar Brunson did the other one.
That was really, really good. Yeah, you should pursue this, man. Plenty of room in the pond for more creators, more original IPs.
But,
this is why I'm not worried. Everybody's like losing their mind about AI, and it will cost some jobs. But here's the thing: it's going to cost corporate jobs. You know, it's Disney, it's Warner Brothers, it's all those companies who own these IPs that'll move to that and cut out the artists and cut out the writers and use AI to do that stuff. If you're creating your own stuff, you don't ever have to worry about AI. Like, I'm not worried about it because, you know, AI is never going to write Kneel Before Doomface, and Renzo is going to draw Kneel Before Doomface as long as he wants to draw it, and we'll come up with other original creations as well that we can work on together that AI will never touch. So I think it's a lot of the really like kind of people who don't have the confidence in themselves to go out and create something and to try to put it out there and to try to build it, or it seems like too much work. It's just easier and you get more immediate clout by coming onto these established characters. But honestly, if you're doing your own stuff, you don't have to worry about AI. The only thing you need to worry about is making it as great as possible and connecting with an audience. Yep. So this is a lot of stuff. You did undersell it. You've done a lot of work on this.
Yes, he has. He's come up with character bios for, I don't know, 30 different characters and
47.
backstories and
47 different characters.
Forgive me, I misspoke. Apologies.
Get your numbers right, damn it. So Ivan Sanchez says, I want to see toys of this guy. Which guy are you talking about, Ivan?
I see he was talking about Doomface.
Oh, is he? Yeah, I mean, I want to see toys of Doomface too. I want a Lexi figure. I want a Doomface figure. I want.
You know, if you ever, I'm just saying, if you ever want somebody to mock something up for you, I might know a guy who's really good at this stuff, who might be able to like mock up a figure for you.
Who could you be talking about?
I don't know. Is it Gerald or Jerry or?
I love the colors on that one. God, your lines are so damn clean.
These are both original, two of my characters too.
Yeah, I have looked at these before. I've definitely seen these. I used to just go on. Sometimes I used to just go on.
Well, kind of what kicked it off is like I like doing stuff that nobody else is doing. That's why I was doing the Ultraverse stuff. And it's like, well, I got toying with like I designed a lot of these characters when I was in high school. It's like, of course, they're like very 90s looking back then. When I drew them, I used to draw a lot, but I got arthritis and everything in my hands now, so I do customs, which
I definitely would love to come on one of the custom streams. I'd actually I'd bring my brother too, because he customizes. Me customizing that Red Skull and then starting to customize figures for him, and then him he got into it himself, so he's a great customizer as well.
Well, I will always have content because I got to go back and fix Hasbro stuff all the time. They made
Yeah, you gotta make it better, right?
Are too damn small. So I had to fix him. So I give him new legs.
Whose legs are those?
Those are Luke Cage legs that I.
Oh, okay. The TV show Luke.
Yes. After I got them, I cut the shins in half, tapered them, and I made a push mold of the pegs off the Hasbro figure, so I can use the boots off the Hasbro figure. So I actually grafted onto the peg system, like on the after I cut it off, so I can just put the boots on. Then I sculpted over the pinholes to make it all pinholes like the original one too.
It's very good work.
Adds the height that he's desperately needed. So they made them like true 6-inch scale. Then again,
Ivan Sanchez says he wants to see toys of Manaconda. That's the one. He wants.
Oh, God, yeah. Wow. Oh, and if he had the stretchy arms, ooh. You know what I would want is I'd want to be able to swap them out with regular posable arms, and then swap in the stretchy arms.
I was going to say that'd be great to use like a Build-A-Figure socket where you can just pop them in, pop them out, where you can have the bendy arms and the regular arms.
Yeah, I know that like you can go to Big Bad Toy Store has that whole thing where you can make figures with them, and then the only caveat is that they sell them exclusively through the Big Bad Toy Store, which might not be bad, but they're doing like Operation Monster Force. Those look fantastic. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Oh, you were asking me earlier about my favorite lines. I would be remiss if I did not say Mythic Legions by the Four Horsemen.
I toyed with going to the Legions Con this year, but it's like a 7-hour drive one way for me.
I'll be there, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Like God willing, I'll be there.
When I was younger, a 7-hour drive I wasn't even bad at, but my blood pressure messes up. I can't go like 20 miles down the road and then stop to take a leak.
Well, I was going to go to we went to the Vegas meetup with Nerdrotic, and originally I was going to drive, and then I was like, and California gas, of course, is like through the roof because our governor's an idiot, and our legislature's an idiot, and a lot of our voters are idiots. So I was looking at the cost of the that it would cost in gas and then wear and tear on your car, and then 5 hours of your time to drive there. And then I looked at flights, and I was like, oh, I can get a flight for $75 and it takes 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to do that. My time is valuable. And I would end up spending more than that in gas anyway, back and forth.
Years ago, I went to a TFCon up in Canada just because I just wanted to go to the one in Canada. And just for a fact, I drove to another country, which is harder to do in the United States compared to Europe. Europe is just like, hey, there's another country.
Yeah, it's always funny when you so I've had British friends that they come to visit and things like that, and they're always like, oh my God, everything is so big, everything is so far. And it's like, yeah, you guys, you see Brits on Twitter and they're like, I don't understand why America just doesn't have mass transit like we do. And we're like, your entire country, just like we could drop it in Texas and still have plenty of room. Mm-hmm. Like that's,
you could drop a couple of UKs in Texas.
Yeah. You could just stack them up, fill it out.
You can drive for 12 hours and still be in Texas.
Yeah. I went to a Star Wars celebration once, and we were driving across Texas, and I felt like I was going mad because I was like, have we moved? I've been looking at the same thing for hours. I think we've passed that same Buc-ee's sign 13 times. It's like I was starting to get a little punchy, but you forget Texas is like a third of the length of the country.
Yeah. Yes, I'm very aware. Born and raised there. This is the first. I am 48 years old. I just moved out of Texas 6 months ago.
I don't understand how in the world they can't grasp that the United States is so much bigger than their countries.
I mean, because the maps are not the right size. They're not sized to scale.
True.
It's like, remember they made fun of Sarah Palin for saying that she could see Russia from her house, and they mocked the hell out of her, because everybody looks at a globe and they go, oh, it's impossible. It's like, no, there are parts of you. There are places in Alaska where you can see, the other continent.
Yep.
So I don't want to break this up or kill the momentum or anything. I'm just curious. Do you? Because I know you hang out with a lot of people that are into politics, so shall we say, or at least politics as in it relates to, you know, a lot of the things that we all give a crap about, whether it be comic books and movies and things like that.
Politics and pop culture, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is that something like you enjoy discussing your political opinions and things like that, or is that the kind of thing that you like got sucked into because of the industry?
I got sucked into. I hate politics. I hate talking about politics. I hate politicians. You know, so it's not a subject that I particularly enjoy, but it has become a subject that I think needs to be talked about because they're trying to inject so much of it into our entertainment, and I would really prefer it not be there. I would really prefer, you know, it's like I don't mind some subtle politics. I don't mind some, you know, things like that working their way into stories, social issues, things like that. You know, can all be good fodder for comic books.
I mean, because so, you know, I mean, we're all geeks here, and we all grew up with things like Star Trek, right? I mean, arguably, Star Trek has been very progressive and more left-leaning throughout its entire history, right? But I grew up loving Star Trek immensely. But there was a way that they used to do things, and it's, you know, I know it's unheard of now, and not a lot of people have heard about doing it this way. There's very few people that still do, but they used to do this thing called just writing good shit, to where it didn't matter if maybe there was something, like you didn't care if there was maybe a political message in it, maybe even to the point that because it was so well done and characters were well done, and because the main focus was never let me push my politics onto somebody, you might actually open up actual genuine conversations with people because they saw this thing that was so good and so well done and the characters were so compelling that it was okay. Like, nobody cared. I don't remember growing up complaining about Star Trek, you know, or anything like that, because yeah, there was stuff in there, but it was still Star Trek and it was still really well done.
Yeah. Well, the characters were still the characters anymore. No, the characters are still the characters. Like, I never minded reading, you know, Green Lantern, who's a more right-leaning conservative character, you know, in Hal Jordan, or Green Arrow, who is a, you know, more of a far left-leaning character.
Right.
So those were the characters, and it was handled with a certain amount of subtlety. It was handled with a certain amount of even-handedness, and even if you knew where the creator kind of stood on things, they didn't allow that to infect the character. Like, for example, Chuck Dixon is a conservative, and he wrote Green Arrow, and he wrote Green Arrow as a left-leaning character. You know, there used to be some integrity. Now everybody gets in and everybody's an activist, and they're like, I'm going to make Captain America the mouthpiece for my ideas and what I think. Right. And then when Captain America says it, now he's validating me and he's validating my opinion, and now, you know, everybody else is wrong because it's in print, it's canon. I have no patience for any of that.
Yeah, I think
self-insert anymore.
No, I think a lot of it comes from, it used to be in-universe politics that mirrored or kind of echoed real-life politics, whereas now it's just full-on real-life politics in these stories, and it is in your face about it.
We don't want to keep you too. Like, if you need to go, it's like we can wrap things up too.
Yeah, I do need to go. But yeah, we can certainly, you know, if you have a question or anything like that, you know, let me know. Like,
we do have a Discord if you do that, and I put like the links to the live streams in there if you ever want to join us, like, or just send me a message. If you ever want to join us on the customizing streams, I do that every Sunday at 8:00, and we just get together and just talk geek stuff and work on our customs.
Okay, cool. No, I love that. Yeah, I definitely like to join. You know, I will pop in at some point. Discord, I'm not really a Discord guy because I already have so many things to keep up on. Like, I find it kind of what's the word I want to use? Discord, Facebook Messenger, things like that, where it's like you're in groups and there's just a continual chat that you have to keep up with. Like that.
Yeah, that
overwhelms my my OCD.
Absolutely, I understand because I can't keep up with it either. I was just mainly I set that up for just keep. I like to help people customize.
Mhm.
When I started customizing, nobody would help you. It's like hush, like, oh, if I tell you how to do this, then you'll start doing it, and I can't sell my stuff.
Right.
It's like I'm sure when I started, I had to do like custom tutorials and stuff like that. And anybody's got questions, I will tell them, best of my knowledge, how you can tackle it. I want the hobby to grow.
Mhm.
I'm not going to be somebody who feels like, oh, I'm not going to tell you that's proprietary secret. There were people like that when I first started customizing. I had to like go through the steps and learn all this stuff on my own.
Mhm.
There was like one guy, he would like put some like tutorials out, but it's like text, like blurry pictures and early days of the internet, but that nobody would share.
Yeah, no, it was tough. You had to you did have to learn everything yourself, and then occasionally you would make a friend who would tell you, oh, you do this or you do that, or you just figure it out through trial and error. But yeah, there was it was a lot less helpful. Like people like guarded their techniques like their secrets. And now there's like guys, like I follow a bunch of guys who are like, hey, you want to learn how to paint Warhammer minis? Here's my channel, and they go through and they show you how to do all of it. I love that. I love that. I love that. Like if I need to repair something, I can go to YouTube and someone's post a video telling me how to repair it.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to take a PlayStation apart and clean it out because of the internet.
Toy Ploy is great for like storing old toys and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my brother does tutorials too. It's like it's good to share knowledge.
And he gets hate because you're destroying these old toys. You should just leave them broken.
A broken toy is of no use to use to me. It's like I want to turn it into something else.
And it's yours. You're not doing it to like go flip it.
I picked up the Ninja Turtle pizza thrower at Ross, and it's like, part of me like wants to keep it pristine, but then the other part of me already started working on it. Like the little seat that's supposed to be a pizza box, but it's orange. I've already redone that and made it look like an actual legit pizza box, and and put that on. And I want to go through and I want to like weather the vehicle. Now I did also get the Mutant module, the re-release, which like if you told me that thing was vintage, I would not. Just on a glance, I would be like, wow, it's in really good condition. But yeah, because it seems to be, it's the exact same mold and everything. Part of me wants to weather that, but part of me wants to leave it clean too. So there is always that battle. But yeah, broken old toy, take that apart and make it good. Give it life again.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and I got a bust of one of my villains.
Yeah, see, you're doing really fun stuff. You need to, you need to get cracking on it.
It's hard when you're a one-man show.
I know, but you know what? Anything worth doing is worth killing yourself to do, right?
But like I said, I have some couple good friends that's artists, and I commission them a few pieces.
Okay, cool. I'd love to come on again. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you again for coming on and hanging out with us tonight. We talk about random stuff.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate the invite. That was, it's like
anytime you want to talk geek stuff, we're always game.
All right, man, sounds
Absolutely.
good. Well, thank you again. Thanks, nice to meet all you guys, and have a good rest of the night.
You too.
Yeah, good night too, sir.
Thanks to the chat.
And that was fun.
Yeah. You did
Aha.
nice.
Do it, lady. Well, JB, you've been quiet all night.
I'm just letting you guys do the talking tonight. It's fine.
Well, you can join us tomorrow night and talk about the death of Superman.
I am
Yep.
right now reading my graphic novel. I am on the course of doing that right now. So
Did you see my eBay post? Apparently, the one that I have is, according to some people, worth $5,000. So
Nice.
I did not see it.
yeah. None of them have sold for $5,000 for some reason. Though.
The actual first printing is not worth it.
Oh, this is the first print graphic novel that I've got.
Wait, I'm not about
The actual mint in condition Superman 75 is still like worth $20 at most.
Because they printed millions and millions of that book.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny how most people who collect comics think these are worth it, but then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, it's just a piece of paper.
Back when he first died, people were selling that book for $100 and more.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
That's
how I bought my first car.
Yeah.
I ordered 50 copies direct from Diamond Distributors and went to a comic convention and sold them for $50 a piece. And then I went and bought a car that next week.
we call that scalping.
Hey, man. I'm all right with it. I knew it wasn't worth shit.
I mean, this was really.
It
the
doesn't
only
matter
thing
what you know. It only matters what everyone else doesn't know.
Right. Hey, man.
Lampshades were the only figure
Hey,
I got.
it's not like I went to the comic shop and swapped them all off the shelf. I put in a special order with Diamond Distributors, like I was a comic shop, and bought copies directly from the distributor. So everybody else still had a chance. It's not like it's not like with the toys where you go to Walmart and you buy a bunch of them off the shelf so nobody else can. Everybody else could have went to their comic shop and bought them if they wanted to. I pre-ordered them ahead of time, and I had them sent directly to my house. That's not
Back in the
scalping.
90s, wasn't that hard to get stuff from retailers?
Dude, anybody could order stuff directly from Diamond Distributors. You could get
If you
subscriptions
had a
from
business
them.
license, they would send you a phone book of all the different manufacturers.
Yeah.
I remember going through that. You could call Hasbro up, and if you had a wholesale license, you could call Hasbro up and order their products directly from them. They won't do that no more, but I'll be
This
right
was
back,
out-
guys.
Okay. Yeah, this was the only thing I got this week was just the Clamp Champs. I was like, instead of interrupt, just show it on camera. And now that I'm
Yeah.
looking at him, I kind of have some custom ideas for him. Like, I'm trying to think. I want to give him a different look. So I'm trying to think of what other Origins figure could I use to give him a kind of a cool look. Like, make him look
This is-
different.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't a re-release, right? This is one that McFarlane. This is like a new figure.
Yes.
It's a great question. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure this is a new figure. I don't think this is a re-release. But if that's the case, this is a good example of a new figure. That new wave of Batman the Animated Series figures are awful with their McFarlane proportions and diaper pieces and weird joints. I wish they looked like this guy looked, because he went old school with this one. He made it at the T hips and everything. And this looks cool. Just look at it.
Well, I got my CT Toys Wolverines in.
Nice.
And by the
So
way, they're fucking awesome, dude. Like, they're. I mean, if I was to make a complaint about them, it's that I think Hasbro has done a little bit better job doing like Wolverine as stockier. These are a little slim for Wolverine, whereas Wolverine's a little bit more stocky than this on average. Like, if you look at these two figures, so here's my X-Men 97, right? And they're like the exact same height. And the Hasbro he's a little stockier built, which to me is a little more Wolverine. But everything else is better on the CT Toys. Everything else is better on the CT Toys.
I told you they were.
90s anime Wolverines, they draw their characters slimmer.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Matt, though, you don't have an issue like mine where the peg, you open it right away and the peg is snaps on the shoulder pad.
No, mine's fine.
Okay.
I got of course, the brown suit's the better one, because
Yeah.
brown suit is always better than yellow and blue. But I got those in, and I wanted, as soon as I got them in, I'm going to do a video comparing all the Hasbro and CT Toys, both yellow and blue and brown and yellow suits. Do a versus video.
Nice.
You gonna buy Scarlet Spider next?
Scarlet? Oh no. No, the Hasbro one's the best one that exists.
Oh, okay.
No offense, but the Hasbro one is one of the best figures they've ever made. And I've seen the CT Toys one compared to the Hasbro one, and great looking figure, but the Hasbro one looks better, and the Hasbro one is more size appropriate for my collection. The CT Toys one is just a little too small.
Yeah.
Whereas like this Wolverine's great because Wolverine is short. So
If he's too short,
he's the same size as
By
he's the same size as
Batman.
Hasbro's Wolverine.
By the by man.
that one should be here tomorrow. So
Okay. Now it's a great Batman figure. I mean, I like him. I think it comes down to it as well. You know, we pay $100 for import figures, and we get kind of worried. You know, when we pay so much for figures, it's like we don't even want to breathe on them half the time and worry about them breaking. So you pay, yeah, but then you pay $20 to $30 for these, and you just want to play with them. You want to pose them up however you want to do. Just have fun.
I don't know. I got my $120 import Hush Superman, and I was posing and playing with him a lot. He's great.
You got that for free, though.
No, I didn't.
Oh, he did. You got it for
Do you know how much I paid for that Hush Superman?
For free?
I paid
What was it?
$200 for that thing.
It wasn't for free.
It wasn't for free.
Wasn't free.
You know how much I paid for the stuff that I gave you?
A lot of money, I'm sure.
Well, I know the Hulk. I don't remember what else I gave you, if anything else.
It was just Hulk is what you gave me.
Mm.
You just sent me the Hulk. So I'm like, my wife Cassie looked at it. She's like, well, a $60 figure for a $200 figure. I guess that's something.
Well, I mean, it's the opposite of what happened last time when I traded you $60 or $40 Street Fighter.
You know who got something for free?
Yeah.
JB,
Yeah, I got that figure.
Spider Woman, and I didn't get nothing.
Spider Woman.
You don't tell me what you want. We keep messaging each other in the chat. What do we want?
We've told you multiple since I gave you that Spider Woman. It was like, hey, look at this thing I found at Walmart. It's like, did you ask we didn't want? No, I just went home.
Yeah. Like, I wish I would have thought to ask if someone wanted anything today, and while I was out shopping.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I don't think is the sea spray out yet. I haven't seen any.
I don't think it's out yet.
I think it doesn't come out until October, according to the ad on Walmart.
We got the Boss Fight Studios Hellboy figures up for pre-order now.
I pre-ordered these. I'm mostly interested in this one, so I compare it with the 1,000 Toys figure. Is mainly why I ordered this one.
I only pre-order toys just so I can cancel them later anymore. So,
Because, I mean, the one thing I'll give to them, 1,000 Toys, is at least they made it where the fingers articulate and you don't have to swap out the hands. But I get why they do the hand swap for this.
Why?
why?
Because-
JB?
Because that way they don't look like blocks put together. See?
Why?
That way they don't look like blocks put together. Like blocks, like Legos.
Why?
What's wrong with Legos? You got a
Ain't
problem
nothing wrong
with
with Legos. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing wrong with Legos. I don't got a problem with Legos. I build them.
Mezco's, was it 3 3/4 inch figures?
Mm-hmm.
Tariff surcharge.
Oh, thoughts on the Deadpool that we all knew was coming?
I'm down. I'll buy it.
I don't care.
Here's just something for all the other toy channels out. We all, if we collect Marvel Legends, we're following Hasbro's social medias. Every single toy channel and media on your social medias, you don't need to keep posting the official pictures that Hasbro puts out. over and over and
How about
over.
this?
Over.
I don't need 500 10-minute videos about this fucking thing.
That.
Yeah.
Dude,
I was going to do a video.
If you want to do a quick 2-minute video, yeah, I mean, I'm probably not going to watch it because I have already seen all the same pictures you're going to show in your video. But okay, like maybe somebody hasn't seen it and they want to watch your video because they like your channel. Cool.
Mhm. If ever there was a reason to do shorts, it would be to throw up this slideshow right here on a short for your channel. It's like 10 seconds long. Oh yeah, hey, he's coming out.
we got to talk about this for 10 more minutes.
Now,
If
here's
I was gonna
my
do-
thing. The figure looks good. I like the pictures. Like cool. And maybe I'll pick it up. I don't know, but there are so many other characters that I would rather have. Characters that are top tier characters that have not that are much more deserving of the maximum series treatment, or characters that we don't have enough of. Like I was telling you guys in the chat the other day, the two that I want, one that's done a bunch of times, but honestly not enough, is Daredevil. And he would so work perfectly for the maximum series treatment with extra articulation and extra accessories and things like that. Because Daredevil figures are, they come out fairly regularly, but not as regularly as they should, considering he is in Marvel an evergreen character. And like I really want like the like this can be the Daredevil to end all Daredevils. The other one for me that is an A-list Marvel character, and I've talked about this, that through all of Marvel Legends, going back to Toy Biz, has only been released 5 times, and he's an A-list character, is Namor. Namor is one of the first Marvel characters ever. He's an A-lister.
Well,
He's been a mainstay in Fantastic Four, in the Avengers, in like
Namor.
shut up with that Namor crap.
Namor.
Okay, his name is Namor.
that makes 6 if you count Namor.
And I mean, just the stuff you could do with a Maximum Series character with him, with the accessories and different head sculpts and like the extra articulation and stuff. Like we just like seriously, like we had we had one Toy Biz Namor, we had one shitty Hasbro Namor, which was that Ronin Build-A-Figure wave Namor, and then we've had 3 since Okoye, Walgreens exclusive, and then we finally got the new Savage Namor. That's it for an A-list character. How many Wolverines and Spider-Mans and Captain Americas and crap have we had in the last 20 years? And we've had 5 Namors. So yeah, this looks like a good figure. I'm not saying it's not a good figure. I'm just saying there are other characters that are far more deserving of this. And quite honestly, maybe it's just me and I'm just inputting my own opinion into this, but I feel like, especially after last year, maybe, just maybe, people might be a little tired of Daredevil figures. We've had a fuck ton of them. We've had a ton of Daredevil figures.
And to be their maximum line, look how shitty the paint is. This is their like showcase piece.
You meant say Deadpool, Matt?
Yeah, okay, Deadpool.
Okay, yeah.
But
Okay.
at least the costume details are sculpted.
Yeah.
Again, looks like a good figure, and I may pick it up. I don't know yet. I haven't decided yet, but it's not. It doesn't get me excited. This is not something I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to get. No, I don't care. Like, I'm certainly not going to pre-order it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm way more excited about the only thing I've pre-ordered this whole year, and I'm way more excited about, is that Captain America Venom 2-pack from the Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm way more excited about that.
Yeah.
And it's like the same price for 2 figures.
I do like that Batmobile, that Rebirth Batmobile. I think that was pretty good.
I'm just waiting for when they do the Maximum Thor. That's the one I'm waiting for. But now
Maximum Thor, I think I would. That's not one that I was like, they should definitely do Thor. However, I would rather have Thor than Deadpool.
I would actually like to have his like newer costume when he came back from the dead, with the scale mail down the arms and.
Yeah, I would. The one from the
Return to Marvel Legends.
Yeah, the Return to Marvel Legends, which was it the Odin Build-A-Figure wave? I think.
Well, that was the second release of that.
That was the second one. Okay, yeah, which was based off the same mold, but it had some changes to it. So yeah, but yeah, I know the Marvel Legends Reborn. Get that, because that's I love that figure. Didn't I send you one, Sith?
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
I've got the
I can't remember.
Build-A-Figure
I had
wave
2
that
of
does
them.
bare sleeves.
Right
Yeah,
there,
okay.
right there with Thor, that version of Thor, interchangeable arms, have his armor and without his armor.
Mhm.
Yeah, and have him with the 2 different helmets, because he had 2 different helmets. Have him with the Mjolnir, the spinning Mjolnir, lightning effects, cloth goods cape. Like, I'd be way more excited about that. Even though I'd still rather have Daredevil or Namor. But I'd be way more excited about Thor than Deadpool.
Well, me and a friend of mine, we were talking about this yesterday, and we were talking about what is the Maximum line, and the Maximum line we brought up, and he brought this point, like, if they're going to do Thor, it's not going to be like so-and-so variant of like his ultimate variant. It's not going to be that. It's going to be the
Classic.
look that everybody knows. It's going to be classic. So
Yeah.
it's going to be, which I mean
did
sucks. I brought up the idea, and I don't know what y'all think about this.
Well,
I know Mattel.
Really though, we don't know because we didn't get a classic Hulk. We got more modern style Hulks with based on like alternate art for cover art, and we didn't get a definitive Hulk in the Maximum line.
Yeah.
Deadpool is a newer Marvel Now Deadpool, so they're not just doing the classic. So we can't just say definitively we're going to do classic Thor because he hasn't had that look in almost 20 years.
Yeah, I shared a picture. If you'll pull it up, if we get a Maximum Thor, it better come with this face sculpt. If it doesn't come with this face sculpt, I don't want it.
Well, me and Fred, I mentioned the point.
In those
y'all know
size.
if I know about Mattel, they do for their fan channel exclusive Amazon figures, their Ultimate Editions. They do where
Speaking
people
of that,
get to vote what look do they want for a certain character. And I mentioned the point, Tim, well, what would you think if Hasbro let us vote what look we want the Maximum series figures to look like? What they gave us 3 options. What would the looks be?
They're not going to do that.
Yeah, they're not. But
Because by the time it gets to the point to where they're even thinking about it, they've already invested time and energy into a design team and all this other stuff. They're not going to then be like, oh, then you decide what we do, and now we got to start all over again. So no, they're not going to do that.
yeah. Well, what's everybody's thoughts on this set?
Boring.
I like the upgraded Iron Man, not enough to buy it because that's not Mandarin. That's a dude in a business suit. That's not the Mandarin.
Dude, they could have at least made his suit green with like a yellow tie or I don't know, something. Like,
I would have been fine if they did the classic toy one with the green skin based on the 90s cartoon and his like elaborate armor and all that stuff. But that's
they're
what
going to do that. They're going to do that one. That one is coming.
Dude, are they?
They probably
They
will.
don't
Knowing them,
seem
they're
to
going to
be
do
good.
it.
So I will probably buy this set because I do need a good, like, more modern Iron Man, and that body just needs a head sculpt, and I would have a perfect 6.5-inch scale Lex Luthor.
You know what that Iron Man needs? It It needs a little Gundam marker and some matte finish. That's what that needs.
Oh man.
Seriously, that would make that suit look way better with some line work. Yeah.
A lot of people.
That one, I didn't like that one until I did that to it.
Now, a lot of people were complaining about the new ab crunch, which is, I understand what you're saying. Like it's kind of stupid to do this type of ab crunch when you could have just done a ball joint like G.I. Joe, which would have completely hid the articulation. But I'm not going to frown upon more articulation too, though.
Yeah.
I totally get what they're saying, though. That it would have made more sense. It's in the sculpt already. They could have just cut it here and made the ab section a single piece and have a ball joint on the waist, ball joint at the torso, like G.I. Joe Classified.
Yeah,
It is.
I will say it is kind of strange that for a company that is already doing these things with one line, that they have been so resistant to import some of the good aspects of G.I. Joe Classifieds over to the Marvel Legends line.
Yeah,
it's weird. But in regards to this figure in particular, I don't care about that ab crunch at all. Even though I have no interest in that 2-pack, but like just looking at the figure, that does not like it fits with the sculpt. Like it doesn't look bad at all. Like that ab crunch looks perfectly fine with that Iron Man. Like I get they didn't do it, whatever. They should have done a double ball joint. That's fine. But I don't know why people are complaining about that. It doesn't look bad. It works with the sculpt of the suit. So I don't see what the problem is.
I wish I thought to bring this up when Aaron was still with us. That is totally Primeval from the Ultraverse. The scar follows the exact same path. The glowing scar.
Yeah.
Down the face, down the chest, and over to the side. That is exactly where they drew Primeval. Which Marvel owns Ultraverse, but other than like having to pay royalties.
Yeah.
By the way, I still like my idea for what this Infernal Hulk should be better, but that's okay.
Why can't Hulk just be Hulk? Why they gotta do all this crap all the time?
I don't know.
Starship Hulk, Immortal Hulk, Infernal Hulk. Why can't we just have Hulk?
Because to Marvel and DC, regular Hulk is not cool anymore.
It's because they're run by morons.
Yep. So, Alpha Proto, my to add to the whole why are these 3 different lines, or these lines from Hasbro not using the best of each for all the lines? Star Wars, why are the Star Wars figures as small as they are? They're not quite true 6-inch, but they're nowhere near 6.5-inch scale.
No, they don't.
They're their own scale. They don't scale with anything.
Yeah.
And
which
it's too late to change now. That they're committed to that, but they should have never been that way from the beginning. It should have been 6 or 6.5 inches.
I don't understand why, when you make these things from the same company, why can't you make everything in the same scale?
Yeah. Hey, I love my Star Wars figures. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but they have to sit on their own shelf, away from everything, to not look ridiculous.
I wish that they would include more alternate hands to the Star Wars figures, rather than just let them have the hands they have long and stuff.
That's another thing. Usually they're pretty good about weapons, but otherwise, the Star Wars figures don't come with anything in the way of accessories.
I could like that Dark Times Darth Vader figure. That has a lightsaber.
The best Darth Vader figure ever.
Yeah. And he's got a finger pointer hand, he's got a fisted hand, and also gripping hand. So it's like, why can they not implement this in the 6-inch line? Why does it just have to be vintage?
Because the vintage series, for whatever reason, is a better team. They put together better figures. That I don't know why. I mean, when I was still collecting both, there were figures that I had in the 4-inch scale and the 6-inch scale, and the 4-inch scale would come with more accessories, better paint details and better sculpting in a 4-inch figure. And I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. What? And it's a cheaper figure. Like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why there's this gap of quality between the vintage and the Black Series lines.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but there is.
And
I mean, and the vintage line has better articulation too, which makes no sense.
I keep thinking I'm done buying Star Wars toys, and then they keep announcing like Legends related characters and like Shadow of the Empire and all this stuff, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm back in. I thought I was done.
Sith, y'all just
Here's
doing
the
that.
thing: a lot of those figures were figures that were already released in the vintage line or the saga line or the you know, like. So it's not like again that's why when I mean, that's how you ended up with some of the figures you've got, is because I was like done with the 6-inch scale. I was like, you know what? I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, because that same money that I'm spending on Black Series, I could be putting towards my 4-inch scale stuff and actual like vehicles and things that are half the fun for me collecting Star Wars stuff, you know? And so I find, and it sucked, dude, because I had a decent amount of Black Series figures, but I just was like, I was just done. I was like, I'm getting rid of them. I'm dumping all of them. I'm done. I'm just collecting 4-inch scale.
I do find that when I get a good Black Series figure, I enjoy it more than when I get a good vintage collection. But the good vintage collection happens a whole lot more often than the good Black Series. I got that Bespin playset up there, and it came with a Stormtrooper and Han and Carbonite, and it was like $30 or $40, and it was awesome, and it looks great, and
well, and like just simple little things like this, like you're not gonna get that in Black Series.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Right? You're never going to get that original prototype version of R2-D2 and C-3PO in Black Series.
No, but you can read comics about them.
But you can read comics about them, that's true. But there's stuff like that you can only get in the 4-inch line, because they're not going to take the chances in Black Series that they take in the 4-inch line.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of those 4-inch figures that I've been looking at. For a while, they were doing these 2-packs that were like including like Legends characters that like New Jedi Order era stuff, and it's like, okay, I didn't know these figures existed. I gotta get them, and then I look at them, and they're like $90 to $100 a piece for the 2-packs. And I'm like, ugh. Yeah, but I want them. But
I do like this new version of the Loose Collector Bigfoot or it looks like a Ozaru from Dragon Ball, like a more realistic version without the tail.
Yeah.
It's also very much the same color as Dragon, my character. It's like, no, I don't need to buy these to make new versions. I think I like this one the best of all the ones they've listed, though. I like the head sculpts.
Yeah.
It does remind me of Dragon Ball.
It does. That guy is way too excited to be being terrorized by a giant ape.
Uh-oh, here you go, the JB. Getting smart tickets.
Oh. This is Lynn. Mental agent. Okay, so it's like a third party of Family Spy.
Great looking T-Rex.
And to go on to Matt's point about vintage, I mean, you guys know I have my little collection of vintage Star Wars figures, which I see that. Which I will admit I do like better than my Black Series, to be honest. I like a lot better than the Black Series figures.
There you go, JB.
I like how you're showing this in front of my face when I'm talking about something completely different.
Oh, is that just normal, though? You're usually talking about something different.
You don't What's the matter, JB? You don't like Spy Family?
I've never heard of it, so
You make
never
a
heard of
terrible. You make a terrible weeb.
it.
It's an anime and a manga.
It is.
Oh, okay,
Actually,
okay.
pretty good.
Oh, we got full reveal of the Mara figure. Or Kane.
Kane. Guilty Land.
Looks great. They're using the Adam Strong body for it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's my favorite comic book of all time, Guilty Land.
Oh, there we go. Get you some
And
fingers.
I do like those. Those are pretty good.
I always I used to make my nephews laugh when they were little when I was watching like when Gohan's killing them. It looks like he's always kicking them in the crotch. It's like, see, they explode when you kick them in the crotch.
Black
There's
Myth.
those sharks. The sharks live.
And
All right, gentlemen, it's getting late for me.
Yep,
I have
you
to
gotta
wake
work.
up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
He's got to work. He's got to go work.
Yeah, that's what you got to do to earn money.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm glad y'all were able to hear when we was doing the rebrand.
Yeah. I feel very neutral, very
Yeah.
safe,
Yeah.
We need to-
very.
I heard they're
Bland.
also changing the name too.
Crack Barrel.
No, Blacker Barrel. Anyway, I gotta go, guys.
Everybody just loves this new brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they've lost $250 million worth of value in 4 days.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Cracker Barrel, the old Cracker Barrel. I
I
very
just
much
like their
dislike eating
breakfast.
it.
Their breakfast was good.
Their breakfast,
breakfast is
really
good.
I like their chicken and dumplings. I would always get like the chicken dumplings meal with 3 sides dumplings.
Now, they did really good fried okra. They did good okra, but other than that, I wasn't a big
You don't
eater.
have the general store feel though. It's like it's kind of
Yeah,
I will say the funny thing was, we went the day before the news broke. Like we went to Cracker Barrel and eat, and then we get in the car and we see the news broke about the logo change. So we're like, "What?"
it's not just the logo; it's the entire store. They're remodeling.
Oh, I saw the pic. I saw the
They're gonna be
picture.
like Denny's, basically.
reimagining. Yes, because that works out so well for Denny's.
Yeah, look at McDonald's how that turned out for them. They're reimagining.
Oh, I heard McDonald's is cutting their
Did you
pricing
guys
because they.
see that guy's video where he let that Big Mac sit for like 7 months and it won't rot?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Matt's got to go. We're going to just
Yeah.
sit there talking. He's just like, shut the hell
Yep,
up.
I gotta go. Y'all have fun.
See you, Matt.
Away go.
Bye.
Have a good one,
Right.
Matt. We can go ahead and call it a night too. And we got the comics review tomorrow night. We're going to be discussing the Death of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Stream set up tonight, and we'll enjoy like one of the stories that got me into collecting and reading comics.
Yeah. I'll be sure to pull out and show my $5,000
No,
graphic novel on screen.
Okay, I thought you said want to pull out and show something else, or
I mean, I can do that too, but that's for the after midnight chat.
that's on the Only Sif channel
Only
Yeah.
sip.
for life.
See, I'm gonna do an opposite. I'm gonna start sending people pictures, and in order for them to stop, you have to send me a monthly fee.
Have you guys seen it? Like this little skit where the genie asks, like, "What's your wishes?" Like, it's like, "I want everybody in the world to go blind."
Yes,
I
and they have
I want
to.
everybody's vision, but they have to pay me a subscription fee to keep their life.
Yeah, yep. I saw one the other day that said there was like that, but instead of a monthly fee, everyone that was blind got their sight back for a week, but they don't know it's for a week but it's just long enough for them to start getting rid of the stuff that they used while they were blind, and then after a week it reversed back, and now they have to go buy all their old stuff again. Like, yeah, that's pretty evil.
All right, guys. Sif, JB, and
Absolutely.
right in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the review.
Goodbye.
Ninja banished.